way. You know, ulti. He has to walk all the way over. Owner won the last Smite fight. Will he get this one as well? Doesn't have the ward vision, but might try all the same.
Oh, 369.
369 is gonna mark him, and that'll be enough to secure the Elder Dragon onto 4, and JDG will cross the map and go again for Baron.
Another time where if we go back to the origins of this play, it was the T1 pick onto Hope in mid lane that allowed them to set up the first Elder Dragon and result in JDG still getting the objective in the aftermath. This team will never give up. They will never say die.
Unbelievable skill expression from both of these teams. We are witnessing some peak League of Legends right now. JDG will start off the Baron. The wall comes down.
Saves in the front line, Owner on the side now as well. 8k health left, that's when Yagao sees no one's behind the pit. It's all in the front. In 369 again, marking the target. Owner comes in, he'll find a stun though. And keep in mind, they've got Elder. Hope can't find the first kill, but 369 does. Zeus will drop as well. It's 2 for nothing. And T1 runs for the hills. But 369 once more gets his second of the fight. Looks for Guma. The cooldowns are short. The leap is almost back. The Cloud Rift helping. And Galio jumps in to help. 2v1 gonna be enough to push him away.
Well, the thing for JDG is, while the fight was good, they spent a lot of time just chasing the T1 members. They've only got a single cannon minion, and 2 T1 members still stand strong. They're looking to push it to the base. They're looking to end the game.
They're going to try to end it. There are no TPs up, but they can shepherd the minion.
Protect the cannon.
Yeah, it's 5v2.
It's
5v2, and JDG wants the Nexus. This one will not respawn in time. No inhibitors, no champions, and no hope. JDG take game 1.
The LPL champions. So impressive. They made their name in the LPL, fighting these fights from behind, overcoming odds. So many times in this particular game, down in numbers in a team fight. Guess what? They don't care. They fight you up anyways. They still get the objective. They stack it. They trade the Dragon Soul for a Baron. They win the fight around the Elder and pick it up off the reset. Magnificent stuff here from the LPL champions.
And so many great things from T1 as well. Yes, they ended up falling short at the very end, but the picks that they were able to find was so incredible, because I thought it was only going to get harder for them. And then Faker finds the flash over the wall, gets the kill onto the AD carry. They're able to find picks onto missing multiple times. The Baron looked like it was theirs. And there were so many moments against many other teams, T1 would have converted that pick into a win. But against JDG, that 1 pick, 2 pick, it was just not enough.
The coordination on this JDG team in some of these team fights, counting the ultimates that are used to kill off their other members, still going for the re-engage, down numbers, just beautiful stuff to see.
I mean, it's beautiful to see. JDG also, like, they're the Island of Misfit toys. You look back at 369, you got cut from Top Esports. You look down at Hope, how he went back and forth, got cut from WE. You were on EDG, then back to Academy, then back to EDG, back to Academy, cut from the team, joins JDG as well, and these squad came together to play a massive performance in Game 1. So JDG up 1-0 in this game. Now, before we break down that game, a reminder that the LCS and LEC have joined forces once again to bring you the Dive Foria podcast for Worlds. Catch up with the quarterfinals preview with Kobe, Dracos, and Kadril, and stay tuned for the finals episode dropping next week, available on Spotify. So cue up that episode and join us at the analyst desk.
Thank you so much, Freak, and welcome back to the analyst desk here at the State Farm Arena, where the crowd has rightfully erupted for that first game in the best of 5. I'm so glad it's not my job to analyze, and that's for you 3 to do, because I just want to watch 4 more of those. That's all I want, is 4 more of those. But JDG getting it done in game number 1.
All I'm saying is, oh yeah, it's for those that don't know, Yagao's name means toothpaste, and we didn't talk about him much in the opening, right? We did talk about how it was Faker and the Zoomers. We talked about Kanavi. We didn't really talk about Yagao, and I think this Talia pick for JDG was a key factor in their win. Not only the way he played it, but the way it went into what T1 wanted to do.
A lot of the members of JDG feel so easy to overlook it kind of in that regard. For example, Yagao was 16th out of 16th mid laners. It's CSD at 15.
Right.
It doesn't matter. That's not what's important for how he plays the game. And Talia is just kind of this perfect pick to exemplify how he wants to approach the game.
Yeah, definitely. And then that's what he picked on 4 there. We can see the draft on the lower half of the screen. I think the first 1, 2, 3 was very standard. You know, Lucian, Nami, Aphelios, Lulu trade, jungle trade of Viego and Vi. But it's the 4-5 from T1 that kind of throw a wrench into the works. It was interesting that they actually decided to go for Camille Galio into Talia. You know, Talia is very good at dashing champions, and you're playing 3 melee champs in Vi, Galio, and Camille dashing into a Talia. So it's very hard to gap close, but T1 found so many picks. I think JDG's response is very natural. Jacks into Camille Galio makes a lot of sense. You have double global mid to match the side lane. I think what JDG answered here with was very good.
I mean, generally, there were winning moments for both teams, right, throughout the game. But I'm curious, Kajal, your thoughts on essentially T1 saying, yes, we'll take that Talia playstyle, you know, to go to the side lanes and we'll match it with the Galio, as opposed to going to some of those more prevalent picks that we've seen in the mid lane, you know, earlier on in the tournament.
I think it makes a lot of sense to go to the Galio Camille because what you're running is a Nami. So this was pre-planned by T1 regardless of what JDG threw at them, I think, because the whole idea, and we'll see it later on in the fights, is you Camille Galio ult onto a target, immobile AD carry of Aphelios. Great, that's your main target. Lulu can work as well. But the Nami ult is what seals the deal on top of that, right? You can never really assist your AD carry or try to gap close towards him to try to peel because there's a Nami ult over the top of the Camille Galio, right? So it was an incredible game. And of course, look at Faker. Greatest, you know, Galio 2017 semis against RNG.
That's exactly where I was about to go. There's all these great points you're making about the current game, but there's also the historical angle of this. Faker is synonymous with probably the greatest Galio performances you've ever seen in that 2017 RNG series, playing it 5 times in a row and carrying his team on his back. He tried to do it again in this game. He had some absolutely monstrous plays, but just couldn't get it done in the end.
Yeah, this pick on Hope is actually where I thought T1 were going to end up taking over the game. He has such great sense with this Galio pick. And I also like the Camille Galio kind of to mitigate how JDG like to play the map, right? Because we've talked about how they don't necessarily get ahead, but the globals help counter and cross map against what JDG want to do.
JDG fighting a man down in this situation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pure aggression all the time. You gotta love it. The number of summoners blown, the amount of mechanics on display here on both sides of the coin, Kadril, is phenomenal.
This was an amazing game to watch. Just pure mechanics and pure perfection almost in team fights, right? And again, we see another scenario where T1 are down members. This is a 3v5, but they managed to stop it here. That Talia E over the Baron pit wall stops Gumayushi from being able to dash over. It stops Zeus there with the Baron. I think that was a knock, or it was the Talia E, whatever it was. So it's actually a 3v3 into an Aphelios. So they inevitably lost this, but we had so many scenarios where T1 would win the fight by getting a pick with Camille Galio, Nami ult on mid-wave. JDG overstepping mid so many. This is like the second or third time that Hope's overstepping, but then they seem to be able to pull it back every single time.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane that they get this pick off. They're like, great, now we get to go Elder Dragon. And JDG are able to fight so well that they stall out and wait for him to come back and then win that fight on the tail end of it. And then once they won that and they got the Elder from there, it was a little bit easier to close out.
Yeah, and this is kind of the game-winning fight here. That's where I do want to bring it back to that Talia pick and Yagao, right? Because we talk about him, he's not this like standout carry player of JDG. He's often overlooked against other LPL mids. He's lived in the shadows of his friend Knight for almost his entire career when they used to play on a net cafe team. And the way he's set up for a lot of these plays, like not allowing T1 to jump on them is really important. Also, you can see the...
Look at that gold graph. The gold graph was so even up until around...
Yeah.
I mean, even the end of the game, 4.5k is not that huge of a lead after you just smash a base. You know, usually it drops to like 8k. And so this was an insanely close game. I think everyone's with eyes could tell that. We don't the stats assist, but I can't wait for more of this series.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if you look at the way JDG was playing the game, it was always mid to top, and I felt like T1 were never really there to respond in time. You saw Zeus on the weak side, right? But they never really found any big cross maps. There was one Hextech Dragon, but it was oftentimes when they did go towards the top side that Gumayushi was getting dove in the 2v1, right? So I felt like both side lanes, despite the early game being quite even, JDG were being a little bit more proactive.
I would love to see a little bit more focus actually around Guma. There was that one play in the top side where they contested 3v2 to stop the Rift Herald charge and try and stop that turf from going down. They actually had Owner already on the bot side, and Faker could have gone to that down to there and try and blow that open. I mean, Guma was incredible this game, despite not being the focus of a lot of the action in the early game.
Let me press you on that just a little bit. T1 sticking to blue side. When you say playing around him a little bit more, just in the game or compositionally as well?
More in-game. I mean, top lane is going to become a black hole of attention no matter what, because it's so skillful, and you want to try and snowball, but I do think you have this kind of X factor in Guma.
Especially with a volatile lane like the Lucian Nami, right? Like when you want to get that lane ahead, you can take over, start Drake stacking, and in this case, it was actually JDG that were able to get their own Drake stacking started early. So T1 didn't always have that bot side control that they might have wanted.
The last thing I will say, it's very interesting that T1's banning Aatrox on blue side, right? They just want this champion removed. So I wonder if they'll do that again, or if they will, play a game of bluff, a game of chicken up against JDG and say, if you don't ban Graves, well, first pick it if both are open, could cause some mayhem.
Aatrox has been sucked into that black hole of the top lane, as Mark put it. We'll see if he can find his way out of it. Check out T1's very own song, Runner, as the pick that represents their play style on the official LoL playlist on Spotify. Take a listen. We'll see you right back here for game number 2, right after this.
It's going to be the first one missing. Heal for move speed. Flashed it himself. Double, not an ulti, but enough damage is going to be there. The polymorph. First blood for Gumayushi. He wants the second. Pin health price at about half HP. Smite is up on both sides. Faker dives in, and the rest of the squad comes by. Economy's Barack's in the way. Burning down with the red. Wants the kill. He can't get it as Hope fires over the wall. It's 369 again, marking the target. Owner comes in, he'll find a stun though, and keep in mind they've got Elder. Hope can't find the first kill, but 369 does. Zeus will drop as well. It's 2-0, and T1 runs for the hills.
Behind 21 epic days of epicness. Behind 1 billion hours of dropped jewels. Behind every match, every broadcast, every moment at League of Legends World Championship 2022 is the network capable of making it all happen. The Cisco Network, aka The Realm. Cisco, powering the future of esports. People fear what they cannot understand. Gracefully.
It's already over.
Die with grace.
Don't care much for your kind of wisdom, Yi.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Welcome back to the State Farm Arena ahead of Game 2 in our semi-final series. As we grow ever closer to crowning our next world champions, a reminder that if you cannot make it to San Francisco for the finals, you can watch the big screen with friends and family at one of 600 theaters and counting near you. Use the QR code below to purchase tickets. And I am hoping we get 4 more games like that one.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That was one of the most exciting games that I've seen. I mean, this world has delivered so many great series, but that single game, and JDG never giving up on these team fights. This is what they really made their name on as well in the LPL, you know, constantly pushing to 5-game series. So everybody hoping for those 5-game series hopefully will be rewarded.
They're a team whose early game is up and down. Right, they're a team that when they do fall far enough behind, it is difficult for them to fight their way back into the game, and the gold lead that ends up being put against them at the start can sometimes balloon out of control. But if you stay in an even game stay against JDG, this is one of the hardest teams in the world to end a game against. And T1, they found so many good picks. Like, it was world class how T1 was playing, and it still was not enough, which makes me wonder, how will T1 shift moving into game 2? Maybe it was they felt like that they couldn't execute properly on some of their early game dives. Maybe they couldn't quite get the early game lead that they wanted to. Maybe they just felt like they didn't execute properly. Maybe they just run back the same comp, because I think their comp in and of itself was fine, but we could see that in some of the late game fights they didn't quite have the initiation tools of the late game damage to compete against JDG.
Yeah, for me it come down to one main thing, and is that coordination around these objective fights that they actually pulled out. T1 often, you know, getting some small stepping stone of leverage and setting it up. But JDG's so good at coming in through flanks and pressuring them while on these objectives and reacting to the engages from T1 that they were still able to come out ahead.
And you can see T1 still sticking with blue side with the loss. Of course, they won the coin flip, I believe, to take side selection in game 1. And they're like, guess what, Kanavi, we don't want you to have Viego again, so it's going to be dropped off. Caitlyn Yumi still banned.
So now they're going to have to make the decision here. Are they going to ban away Graves as well? We did highlight on the analyst desk Kanavi doing the Graves invade path towards red side. Owner did the same thing as well for T1 in the first game of their series.
They still like it.
Salty run back, baby.
We've seen this so many times in quarters where a team will just Lucian, Nami, blue side 2 games in a row. Rogue did it, Dalmon did it. I feel like that it's just become a trend where people in scrims recognize the strength of it in lane. But if you can't build the leads, the Aphelios response seems to be a reliable answer for the LPL teams.
Yeah, very, very good. You know, it's definitely a matchup that peaks with skill. Because Lucian Nami against lower skilled Aphelios Lulus definitely has been able to get the advantage, but Kanavi just playing with our hearts here. Personally, I'm looking for more variation. The Sylas is the main champion that was given up with the Viego ban. By pushing Kanavi out of his top 2 of Graves and Viego, they gave Yagao his highest preference champion, the most dominating mid lane champion of recency here at Worlds as well. And it's going to be a run back of the Aphelios for Hope and Missing. Now, Kanavi, as far as these hovers for the Bel'Veth, he was one of the earliest adopters of this champion, even upon release.
Faker Rise! It's one of his 3 world skins. He's bringing it back here.
They let through the Sylas to be answered by Faker's Rise. I love it, I love it, I love it. This mid lane matchup being put to the test.
It was Chovy's Rise that we saw in the quarterfinals against Dalmon that worked wonders in game 1 of their series. Largely thanks to the strong skirmishing power that it can have into certain matchups, along with its heavy roaming style. It's also not the best ultimate for Sylas to steal away. Of course, there are uses to it, but in terms of lethality, it's definitely on the lower end.
And they're really just T1 completely committing to this roam, to your pushing side lane style here with the Rise. By giving over the Sylas, you're thinking that there will be a gap there. Of course, Sylas can still steal the Realm Warp and make his moves to the side lane as well. And we'll keep track of Yagao and how he does that. He's one of the best.
And this does fit Faker's trajectory as a player. The greatest of all time, he won 3 world championships in 4 years. And in those 4 years, it was like, well, it's because I'm dominating everyone else in the mid lane. He's hitting historic highs in damage and laning prowess and solo kills and crushing And over the next 5 years of his career, still excellent, still winning trophies, still heading to the World semifinals and finals, has been more as a leader, more as a roamer, helping out the new young guns. It's a bunch of 19 or 20-year-olds on his team, and again, it's Faker saying, I'm gonna help you guys carry.
Now we're getting so far down in the jungle pool here with the extra bans coming through with the Vi and Lee Sin. You actually are looking at things like the Bel'Veth, maybe even a Jarvan for setup for early ganks to be able to aggressively set up those lanes as you're talking about.
He's flexing his pool right now. So far at the World Championship, he has brought out one Nidalee game. I'd be surprised if we saw it. The Bel'Veth is being hovered right now, but we'll hold our breath. Will it be one thing? Yes, it will. Bel'Veth, our World semifinal.
He is quite possibly the jungler I am most confident in the whole world in pulling out this champion. As I said, one of the earliest adopters, played it in LPL Summer, played it in the playoffs.
Oh, yes.
He often
Yes! Yone for Zeus, baby! It was his most played coming into the series, and it's time for Yone Game 3.
You were talking about the Bel'Veth in terms of the consistency and reliability for Kanavi. Zeus, this was his answer to Aatrox. This was something that he's brought out as a counter. Now he's bringing it out blind, and he's saying, show me what you got, 369.
Yeah, it's one of his iconic champions, one of the preferred champions, the carry top for T1. The 18-year-old brought up through the T1 Academy system. So much faith, so much confidence put in this man.
I love it. I think it's a great call. It's a physical heavy team. Malphite needs to be played more. I love this pick.
We knew 369 went into it. So many tank top laners here because Kanavi is the focus, the carry player for JDG. And we finally get a Malphite with the recent Malphite buffs. Long time he has not been pulled out, but such a good answer for those team fights that make JDG what they are. That ultimate slamming into T1 will always give you a way back into the team fight.
I've never been this excited for a Malphite before, but not only is it great into this comp, but it's 369's Malphite. Like, he is touted as one of, if not the best top laner in the world. He had a great game one, and now JDG are rounding out what is another fantastic team fight composition. The engage is good, the front line is good, and the back line carries and skill expression for JDG looks everything to give them a repeat of game one.
And T1 are solo AP and a Rise AP at that, so a very good spot to pull out this champion for JDG.
Well, on to the rip to go in a second. Is it going to be enough? Now this time, it's a different matchup on the top side. It was such a big deal for 369 to get into team fights on Jax. Solo zone 3 people to guarantee the Elder Dragon. Once they've got it, get everyone low for the team to clean up. He was huge in a fighter-fighter counter pick. This time around, Malphite Yone. Not going to be killable in lane, but it's not going to be him solo carrying team fights. It's going to be him starting team fights and making sure his teammates are there to carry the actual damage sources.
And I'm very curious, too, about the build for the actual damage sources because Kanavi, when he first brought out Bel'Veth, was always going with this semi-tank build. The Blade of the Ruin King into then tank items later. But in Champions Queue, I saw it multiple times do the full DPS Bel'Veth, Kraken Slayer, Blade of the Ruin King, full DPS. So I want to see if Kanavi will commit to that, or if it feels like Yagao and Hope will carry the weight.
Now, a common thing that we've seen across the world throughout this split has been this early red ward, that the delayed invade, and have a look at the junglers right now. JDG is ready for it, and they're able to get the flash out from Ona. So this is really good awareness from JDG because, again, it's something common that you'll see from many junglers, the delay on trying to drop that ward over the wall to get information. We'll now see T1 invest it on the bot side of the map instead to just figure out where Kanavi is starting, but getting the flash out from Ona is already a great start for JDG.
Yeah, and pretty common runes here from the setups from everybody. And of course, Poppy going the Hex Flash, it won't hurt Poppy as much as a lot of other champions that do not take this rune. Owner starting towards the top side here. Meanwhile, for Kanavi on that Bel'Veth, you almost always want to get your full clear off. So Kanavi starting off the bottom side, clearing up towards that top side.
No easy poke through the minions, a little damage there. The Owner indeed on the ward, getting his own blue as an early cleanse coming across there. Healing a chase on down. Guma forced to flash away, and they're going for more. He's slowed. 100 health left, and JDG decides they're already winning the bot lane. Carrier trades one back, but first blood went to the AD carry.
Oh my goodness! goodness, Hope and Missing, no hesitation there. You saw that level 1. Once they get the angle of the triangle here towards the brush, and Vedius, you talked about the wards into your side lanes early on here. So you see Hope and Missing move up. You'll get an early ignite as well. Guma very far forward. He allowed auto attack range of both Missing and Hope at the same time, while Kerio was positioned behind him. And Hope and Missing, they don't hesitate. They slap him back down. They immediately punish him. So even though, yeah, Kerio gets that counter kill, it is first blood money, and it is a better site for that money to go to into the hands of the AD carry.
I will say, though, that this was an issue for Gumayushi during the regular season. One of the biggest criticisms that T1 had was that their bot lane wasn't as consistent, wasn't as reliable. And coming into Worlds, everyone was like, but Guma is shaking all that rust off. He does not have any of those problems.
Yeah,
but this type of aggression was some of the issues that we saw during the regular season. And I feel like that he didn't need to be that aggressive at level 1. You can see the idea, but a big mechanical blunder from him on the individual level.
Yeah, just the positioning here, Kanavi.
Stun's gonna land on a fake. Here you got Owner coming around pretty soon, but no flash means it can't help for much. Able to actually stop with the steadfast, and now tackling to a minion, getting away as well. Beautifully done to live. Faker down his flash.
He's not out yet, though. Faker in enemy territory might have to execute to a tower.
Yeah, it spots him, and he's gonna say, you know what? The XP isn't worth it. The mid lane wave means more. Faker will execute. Nothing changed to the scoreboard, but it means he's gonna be sitting there not getting farmed.
Yeah, good little bodyguard moment for Owner coming through to peel for Faker and get him out of there, because you do not want Kanavi's Bel'Veth getting an early kill. They still burn the flashes, though. So mid-jungle, 4T1, no flashes at all for them, and Kanavi feels like he can go for the crab. Does have smite available.
Oh, played by Kanavi. An early smite from Owner is nowhere close to enough damage. 77 health left after the smite itself. So double crab for the JDG jungler.
So one of the things I was going to talk about was the biggest difference between Game 1 and Game 2 is that Faker, it's easier for him to get push on the rise compared to on the Galio into the Talia. But again, we saw Yagao concede those early waves to set up for that level 3 gank. We didn't get to talk about it because of the early action bot line, but you've been highlighting it throughout the series, Kobe, and how Kanavi will consistently play through mid to unlock Yagao to burn those flashes so that he can then move around on the map. So now Faker's investment towards the bot side, ideally they look to stack up the wave, look to try and set up some sort of dive onto the bot, especially without any flashes, now becomes a lot harder.
Well, as we watch ourselves go back into the jungle, make sure to grab your exclusive Very Nasa's Much Wow emote from Prime Gaming by connecting your League account with your Prime account as well. Mid lane being attacked, pretty good damage out of Faker in the mid lane, Yagao being pushed around. Woo! It's a lot of damage. Lands.
Of course, he does have the teleport, so
yeah,
he can likely just reset here. He hasn't actually spent any of his gold just yet. Faker, I wouldn't be surprised if he actually holds this wave. Yeah, so he's going to set up a nice freeze. Shouldn't be too much of a problem because he has the TP. So he's just going to clear the wave instead.
Meanwhile, I kind of want to point out the kind of dream scenario here for Kanavi on the Bel'Veth. Being able to win that Scuttle smite fight and then set yourself up for a reverse clear of your second clear. He goes over here, 2 Raptors, picks it up. Recall on 40 CS is going to have a bunch of gold for his first recall here for the Bel'Veth. Trying to stay ahead of the curve is really, really big with this champion. A true jungle carry champion that wants to snowball and is going to have higher priority on getting that Rift Herald. As you know, being able to get the Remora for the pushing, huge snowball opportunity for this champion has been quite a signature pick for JDG.
It certainly has. We'll see how much he can do on the champion. The thing of the pickaxe coming back onto the map. Of course, talking about jungle, we also have to talk about top. Often JDG are a very good topside focused team. They do invest a lot early in terms of 369, but we haven't talked about this matchup at all. In terms of the early game, it often is Yone favored. He can get a lot of favorable trades. Malphite doesn't offer that much. But there's a certain break point around like level 7, level 8, level 9, where he can really start winning out on the 1v1. Starting off with the Warden's Mail already will make this matchup inherently harder for Zeus to bully and push 369 around.
He got rid of all the wards, so Kanavi was not seen clearing his bottom jungle, was not seen coming down the river. Owner, though, nearby as well. There's no fight to be had. The wave is pushing towards JDG, and Owner himself now spotted by this control ward. I think he knows from his own sweeper. As they roam over, they can't quite find that kill, but with a knockup, looks like it is going to be Scuttle Crab claimed for Kanavi. Level 6 as he knocks it down. Well done to him. Bubble nearly lands in a missing. But that's a jump on forward. And Whimsy into a root, into a lot of damage. Heal is forced. Hope lives at the end with a heal. But now Guma, pretty low, has his own flash if needed. Kanavi cannot reach him.
Yeah, it's actually so dangerous when Bel'Veth has both dashes that are in the direction of your lane to be able to chase down.
Oh yeah, Gao's in the way.
Both mid laners here.
Okay, it's a 4v4 down here. Is it going to be a fight though? Looks like it's going to be a wave clear. Everyone's going to make sure it's safe. And now I think Yagao got spotted. Owner sees him. Going to find some poke, but nothing more.
Yagao was spotted, which meant that T1 were hesitant to commit to that fight. problem that Faker now faces is Yagao is on his pathway towards getting back to mid lane, which means he's going to be forced to go back to base and go the long way around. JDG will convert this pressure bot into a dragon, and they're going to emulate exactly what they did in game 1 and set themselves up to contest for that 8-minute Herald. Wouldn't be surprised to actually see them catch this wave,
Would
go
he
back
really
to base.
flash for this? He flashes for it, and he finds the tackle. Owner's running as fast as he can, but he's going to be slowed up, finds a flash forward, and a kill comes across. The Dragon Steel trades his life. Flash down, Gumayushi lives.
That ward inside the Dragon Pit. Owner, Hex Flash over the top. He is not giving away the objectives to JDG. And just sacrificing 1 kill for the Dragon is for sure worth it for Owner. Pretty big play there off the vision advantage for T1. Kanavi did get a kill, so he ultimate Velvet.
Flash forced away. That would have been maybe a kill entirely on a Faker. So damage comes across. He's rooted. Presses E for the damage reduction. The Owner did actually burn the full 5-minute flash cooldown, just got it back. And so it's back to Hex Flash now. Missing just really gets away. Although I agree with your point, Kobe. A kill and a flash, you give those away for a Drake steal.
And he's thinking here, maybe I can even get out with a phase rush proc here. Poppy oftentimes, being able to get there, but Kanavi hits a really good W around the edge, even with the phase rush speed, that's allowing JDG to set up for that counter kill. So still good objective steal for T1.
And props to Owner. The downside of this means that Kanavi will have the advantage to immediately path back up. I don't think he's actually reset yet after that Drake. Yagao though, and the bot lane, as we discussed. My expectation was that JDG would take Drake, clear bot, reset, and then come back out onto the map for this objective. They didn't get the Drake, but they should be able to secure the Herald. And JDG once again demonstrating their very clean early game objective control.
Transforms again, now has the Void Remore, which means you can start knocking down some turret plates as they look towards Zeus's shade. Can't quite get that one, but now Hope set to the top side to start going for turret plates.
Yeah, they made the full commitment, recalling bottom lane, reassigning them up towards that Rift Herald to ensure you can get it for this Velvet. Recharging that timer on your ultimate form is so big, as well as giving you the extra pushing power. It does mean, though, look at Gumayushi. This Lucian has been able to stack up some CS there, push it all the way in on bottom side, and it has allowed him to get the early reset and head up towards top side to answer and collect this rest of the wave that is being pushed to his tower.
What I think is really important to recognize in this early game is T1's game plan was to, as they tried to do in game 1, get a lead in the bot side of the map and leverage this bot lane 2v2 strength to secure early objectives, in particular this first Herald. But the fact that Gumayushi died at level 1 in the 2v2 and the skirmishes that we saw on the bot side of the map made it much harder to be able to rotate around and contest these neutrals. And now you can see that JDG's bot lane is in a much better position to receive these resources. Earlier I thought Kanavi would drop the Herald up towards the bot side of the map, but I expect him to funnel that gold into this bot lane to try and keep Hope on pace or even ahead of Gumayushi.
We get damage of the ulti. Hope chunked down to about 2/3. Gets the better side of that trade as he puts his ulti down. Of course, now down to cooldown as Hope's going to try to regen back up with his red gun, but low on ammo and a nice Q snipe comes across.
Also, with last game coming down to so many key objective fights and key objective steals here, T1 getting the first dragon for themselves, setting them up for possible stacking as well is really big. I think JDG, after that first game as well, they're so used to people underestimating them.
Yep.
Even though they are the LPL champions, in the LPL, they are one of the least popular LPL champions of all time. Does not have the huge fan base, has a lot of doubters, and still, yet, they are the LPL's last and only hope, and 369 is tanking them.
Sidestep Zeus' first Q. Got to find the knockup now to Owner as well. He'll stay alive. They go back in for the combo. Huge damage coming across, and he's going to find the kill to 369. Triumphs back up the hill. A knockup onto the tower. Kanavi cannot finish the kill. Yagao's now on the way, walking through a ward. Will it be enough? Knows he can steal one of the ultis, but with the wave cleared away, I don't know if Kanavi can play for it anymore. Find an ult combo now onto Lulu as well. Guma getting chunked. Lulu should not keep fighting this one, though. Is missing. Walks up. Summoning heal forced out. Traded now back onto Hope. Ignite is still up for missing. Carrier can find his next bit of the combo. Not just yet, though. Here comes the dive. It's not going to happen. And Yagao's locked up. Zeus finds another kill. 3-2, and T1 winning to the top lane.
The top jungle of T1 comes out on top, getting the better of Kanavi and 369. They walk away with 2 kills.
Oh, episode 1 of Top Lane God was so amazing. 369, he gets the victory in game number 1. But game number 2 here, the revenge of Zeus, gets the kill onto him, as well as avoiding the tower dive there with the soul unbound. Beautiful play for him. And now, with 2 kills on this Yone, he can really show why T1 invests so much faith into all these top lane carries they pick for him. Huge, huge, huge skill peak for this champ. Take a look at this and the setup.
You can see the investment of the ultimate from 369 was just too early. Kanavi wasn't close enough to be able to turn anything around, and Zeus didn't commit any of his abilities, which meant that the second Owner was close by and 369 oversteps, they're able to get that initial kill. At this point, though, JDG saying we can make the play.
God.
Great side step from Zeus, great splash away from the ultimate, the knock in the wall from Owner. Oh my god, and the knock-up again. Exquisite mechanics from the top jungle of T1.
Float like a butterfly, sting like a god for Zeus. My god, you can't hit him with anything down there. Dodging 2 skill shots by movement and then flashing as well.
Gentlemen, I think we're in for another close game. The gold is pretty much dead even. The Herald will be dropped, which means the bot lane of JDG will find further advantages. Oh, Hope, though, takes a lot of damage.
Of course, Zibba can't find the kill, goes to the wrong target, nearly dead. Gets the shield flash to safety. 369 would love the tower dive, but he doesn't have the target anymore. Keria, healthy enough at 400 HP, and the first Drake was stolen by Owner. JDG committed the resource. This one, they will actually get.
Look at this ward. He's not letting it happen again. That just gave me flashbacks to the last one. They've got a ward over the back this time. They don't want to let anything go through.
They brought 369 down to the bot lane. Meanwhile, Zeus is actually in mid. Kanavi may find a bit of a skirmish here, but looks like Zeus is just going to walk that one out as Kanavi picks up that wave. The most important thing about that bot side skirmish was the fact that while Gumayusi and Keria were struggling in the bot lane 2v2 and Hope was being funneled all this additional gold, now T1 have a very clear win condition. And sure, Yoning's not going to be easy to play in the late game with the Malphite, but being accelerated is nothing but good for the T1 top side.
For the top side itself now, Yagao and Kanavi want to group up this one, down a level, but will it matter? Faker running for his life, gonna do pretty well in this one. Next knockup could be found, and it'll stop the ulti. That is a long cooldown missing, and Kanavi back to his old ways with a kill.
Kanavi eating up in the side lanes here. We were wondering, that was one of our big questions, who was going to be able to get priority. Jungle, quick attack, easy kill. And if you notice the placement of the other T1 members, nowhere else under pressure, nowhere else gained here. No momentum or answer from T1. Zeus can just shove in bottom lane, but it's fine for 369, easily able to soak it up and tank.
Clearing the ways back and forth. A 10 CS lead for Zeus as we are on the way towards the Mythic on 369's side. Blue buff taken away by Owner. As Faker TV's back into the top side to clear his own wave. Up farm here as well. Obviously, Jungle has a big lead on the JDG side. See how that plays for, but a very close game. Tied in gold, tied in Drakes, and once again, we have the Cloud Rift on the way to a Cloud Soul.
So in terms of where the gold is distributed, a lot of the gold advantage for JDG is actually in the jungle. You can see that Kanavi sitting at 112 CS, just slightly ahead of his own mid laner. This is pretty common for him. But as 369 secures that bot tower, and a lot of the gold is actually sitting in the hands of Gumayusi, who's not that far behind Hope, and of course in the top lane. As now Zeus looking for a bit of a skirmish. Nice sidestep there from 369.
Just wants the wave at this point. Rise coming down as well. Feels maybe a little unsafe. 2v1. It was actually the Gao diving the tower, and he's just not tanky enough. 369 holds the aggro. Shut down goes over to Kanavi, and the counter pick pays dividends in the mid game.
It's interesting because the counter from T1 is Rift Herald support push on top side, while Gumayusi he finishes the kill this time with the Gale Force.
That is Hope dead. Missing could not give him enough support to keep him alive. Ulti actually held on. Wave comes around. 2v3 could be enough. Owner knows he can stop. Goes for the flash stun. Will it be enough? Needs to press E for damage reduction. That means he will live. This is now 3 times in a row. Owner goes for a flash. Might find himself dead. Just barely. Kanavi gets out.
Wow, huge respect to Gumayusi. Even though he blundered a little bit in the early laning phase, you can see he's coming back with a vengeance. Once again, looking to be the main carry of T1 as Faker corner side lane.
No ulti for 369, which means Faker's going to feel safe. Spellbook's another ghost over and able to walk out.
Once again, T1 reclaim control of the gold lead. It's a constant back and forth between these two teams as they find picks across the board. JDG with their pick on the Zeus on the bot side of the map. Meanwhile, Gumayusi finding a massive kill onto Hope in the mid lane. They couldn't quite convert it into the mid tier 1, but now already both teams are looking for the next dragon spawning in about a minute and a half.
I think we're about to see the moment that JDG has been waiting for, when they have the teleport ready for 369 and be able to get him into one of these team fights off a teleport ward, and boom, Malphite ultimate. He's been soaking up pressure this whole game, waiting for the big moment where he gets to win the team fight for his team. And T1, can they stop it? They must sweep through and clear out this vision so that they don't get surprised. Faker coming to join the rest of the team here on the rise. He's got Realm Warp available, so he could go top lane and soak it up and still be within range.
369 shouldn't have been seen, could look for an ult. He has his own flash as well, but not gonna go for a tower dive. T1 still feeling safe in this one as the bot wave is pushed in. Zeus does not stay for any longer. Malphite was on his way down, could have been roamed upon. Yagao could TP.
Honestly, it looks like he's going to commit to it. He got both towers with that Rift Herald push that we talked about last time. So there's a long open lane here, but no wards set up to support it. And really, they're just thinking about trading this bottom side dragon that is going to pull JDG's attention.
And T1 have set up for this Drake very nicely. Faker getting that deep push, as you highlighted, Kobe, along with the mid flash in.
Over the wall, Hex flash into a stun, but kind of able to jump back away. Has help as Lulu in the end, and they're going to kill off that ward he was on.
These two wards, control wards behind the dragon, possible angles for Yagao or 369 to force the fight on T1, and this
Deep TP flank.
Here
They're
they
both
come.
coming. All right, is it going to be enough? It's a bit of a 5-on-5, but right now, Zeus far enough away. They don't pull the trigger. Double TP is in, though, for Drake control. These might be where he wants to be on the side, but actually goes to rejoin his team. Kanabi going to start up on this Drake. Has him building towards tank, has the Aegis to keep him a bit tankier, and they're going to try to burn down this Drake with his Ruin Kick for healing.
So keep your eyes on Yagao in this fight. His ultimate's going to be crucial.
Tidal Wave catches just one. It's not going to be crucial, not going to be relevant there. Going to get the reset there on Owner's ulti now as well. Level 10 on the Poppy. Smite up on both. Can they zone out the Smite steal? It's only Hex Flash. They can spot him on the way in. Oh, the double knockup. They're going to find a team fight. Gumayushi nearly dead. Yagao on the chase, but he can't kill it. Just the Drake. T180 carry lives.
The engage is good from JDG, but T1 walk away with their lives. You can see the threat of the Wombo combo. 369 lands an engage onto 2, but then the Lulu follow-up actually hits onto 3, which almost completely wipes the backline of T1 off the face of the Rift before the fight even starts.
This series is a war between these two teams. Every single objective, another battle. As you pointed out, big engage there from JDG, and Yagao even flashing over to try and finish off that kill with the chains onto Gumayushi. Even though they don't get it though, they get the dragon. They continue their stacking for the side of JDG. Both teams not giving an inch in any of these fights.
But imagine if Owner hadn't gotten that clutch steal in the first Drake. DDD would be on Soul Point, and Zeus probably needs to be on 3 items where he's a huge threat. Otherwise he gets stopped up by Malphite. Decent damage towards Carrier. Not going to matter too much, although 369 obviously pretty much impervious to the current team of T1.
And we're about to see this mid game. This is why we got so excited for this Malphite pick. It's not for the lane phase.
Correct, yep.
It is for these mid-game fights here. And 369 is a monster now with both Crossfire and the attack speed AoE reduction of that Frozen Heart done. A massive immovable object.
The big thing as well is 369 committed his flash earlier, but he traded it for Gumayushi's. Oh no, once again with a really good stun into the wall.
Zeus coming, which means it's Shirley's to run away as fast as they can. 369 might need to ult to stay alive. How long he's going to wait for it? Finds his first knockup, but is it going to be enough? He'll fall to Gumayushi. Tidal Wave stolen means almost nothing, and JDG this time do not find their team fight win.
We just cursed the rock right there. He's caught all alone in T1. They're not done.
They find a route. They find the follow-up. Yagao sets it up. Faker disengages the fight. A 1-for-1 though.
Gumayushi's aggression is punished. He tries to commit onto the kill for Yagao, but he oversteps one step too much, and JDG are there to punish him. A quick kill means that it ends up being a 1-for-1 exchange.
Many times are we going to see this Lucian, the furthest one forward on the T1 team, Vedias. My goodness, these teams going blow for blow.
It's a short-range champ. Gumayushi has to be very careful with his positioning, and often his aggression can pay off. A champion like Lucian gives him so much individual agency in a team fight. But in a situation like that, where he's tunneling onto a single target, he ends up getting punished. Let's look back.
And let's look. It is all about this flank from Zeus. Zeus comes up the river, and 369 sectioned away from the rest of his team. He does not go back to JDG early enough. He waits for an ultimate to get the knockup here onto T1, but there's no DPS around, so he goes down. The front line no longer available for JDG. Guma wants to finish off this kill, and it's in the fog of war as well.
That was beautiful.
Really nice.
staying close in range, knowing he's not spotted. That was so nice. What a great setup by Yagao.
That is something that you have to keep in mind as these AD carries. They're always thinking about what CC can my opponents use on me? What do they still have up? Yagao hits him with a beautiful, beautiful snare there.
Coaching staff of JDG celebrating that pick because it neutralizes the game once more. The game continues to be dead even. The gold distributed pretty evenly across both sides. Navi being the large benefactor on the side of JDG. Look at that, 2 items fully completed. The mid diff is slowly starting to grow and grow as Faker has consistently been sitting in a side lane. Now level 14, has picked up a ton of farm and is already working on his 3rd item.
Will be a massive threat as we move forward. And stopwatches will be key for these big engages they're trying to get. Faker with the blue buff move down for a shadow play here. If you split push with Zeus and have Faker...
Sets up for Kanavi. Does he have ways out? The ulti's gonna be blocked already. He gets what he can as he tries to set it up. Gets the shield, gets out for now. But how about the next engage? E damage is pretty solid. Has to get back out though as Yagao burns his TP but does not get the kill. Zeus holds every long cooldown.
That's the TP committed though from Yagao. The only good news for JDG is that the Dragon is spawning in less than a minute. The problem is they will concede the mid wave. You can already see T1 pushing that wave up.
They want to go for Baron. They're gonna double TP up there to try and trade for the
Dragon.
And it's in the fog as well. They have no idea.
The realm ward. Oh, they spot Gumayushi. That ward is clutch, but do they have the time for it? They're running as fast as they can. It's going to be 369 TPing, and he'll buy time, but will it be enough? Kanavi needs to get into the pit. He's got so little time. Smite it away. T1 with the huge cross-map play.
Decisiveness is the key to victory for T1 here. A Baron just snatched out of the fingers of JDG. My goodness, the double teleport. They're not done either. They're going to double push up on this top side with the Baron empowered minions.
I don't know if they have the time. I think they realize they can't play for the Cloud Trick. It's going to give JDG Cloud kill number 3. A flash gets away from 1, but a stolen Yone means he's going to go for Owner. However, top is still being pushed. Eventually, Zeus and Faker must be answered. Kanavi console the Drake. 3 can head back, but they might lose the inhibitor first. How much more will they lose? Hope is low. Can't fight for much more. Kanavi should be soloing the Dragon, but with mid pushed in, T1 could even answer that.
T1 playing the map beautifully right now, but here's the collapse from Kanavi.
Malphite sent back, missing, goes for the flash into the Whimsy. Guma does not get slowed just yet. Has to flash the ulti away, but they might want more. Yagao forces the sidestep, gets the root though. Yagao again secures the kill into Gumayushi.
Look back at the top lane though, Faker and Zeus are looking for more. They're grouped up. They know that they can kill 369 in a 2 versus 1. He doesn't have his ultimate. There's no way alone he can stop this.
They're going to hard commit to it. T1 will get this inhibitor in trade. The push and pull on this map is insane right now. JDG will get a tower plus the Dragon, and recalls are going off already.
They don't know it's 3v2. They don't know they're outnumbered. Carrier sets up the CC, and 369 goes down. Zeus nearly finds his own knockup. His ulti is down. His flash is available. What a great setup from Carrier to sneak in and make that fight easy.
Now they can try and rotate towards mid lane here with the top side push, and super minions now spawning towards top side. Looks like they will do it. There is Realm Warp available for Faker.
But is it enough? A great Glitter Lance slows down everybody. The mid wave, though, is still there. Red Bull Baron powerfully going to be at 1,000 gold, but also down that Dragon. It is once again Cloud Soul point for JDG.
Let's just take stock of what T1 just did on the map. They recognized they couldn't take the Dragon, so they TP into the fog on a minion topside so that they can't be spotted. They then Realm Warp into the Baron to get there as quickly as possible. They take it down using the Poppy ult to keep the Malphite out of the fight for any potential risk or stalling. And then they leverage the fact that, again, JDG want the Dragon, so they commit to the top side. Faker using the Rift Herald earlier in the game so that they can just generate this constant point of pressure, which JDG have to answer, giving them access to the mid lane. Just incredible map movements from T1 here in Game 2.
It's just so smart because they're playing to their comp win conditions here. They don't want to play into that Malphite. They don't want to let the big setup from JDG happen again. The 369 plus missing, double ultimates, double knockups could be devastating. And so T1 have gotten themselves the map advantage that you're talking about. Now with Supers on top side, pushing here through the bottom side with the remnants of that Baron.
Hope's going to take so much damage. Flash the way. Gale Force ulti is the second time in a row. Guma finds that one. In the bot side is a fight, though. Faker attacked, but tanky for a while. Huge ulti from Zeus. Gets 1, gets 2, and T1, they see your 4v5, and they don't care. Under the tower, they kill two.
They rip them apart, and they're going to be able to push up mid lane with that. That's 2 critical carries. Yagao and Hope with very long respawn timers, 2 inhibitors. This early in the game will be so difficult for JDG to come back from.
They're trying to end. Look at the positioning. They're running rather far forward. Now they're going to realm warp away to play for the next side of the map with a new wave. They're going to be here for bot lane tier 2. The gold lead will balloon. The mid inhibitor is down. Top inhibitor is down. And all these turrets have been cracked.
T1 have just blown this game wide open. Unbelievable performance from them. I felt like JDG was the one dictating the pace of the game, controlling the map in game 1. But T1 have just one-upped them here in game 2. And look at Gumayushi getting his revenge in the 1v1 as he gets another solo kill on the Hope.
Key thing here, look at the split push for JDG. They've got Silas teleporting in now, but it was a beautiful engage. And Zeus. So it's the reason why his Yone is so feared. Sets it up for the team, doesn't hesitate, doesn't care if you're a tank, immediately engages, wraps up JDG with those extra kills. T1 pushed forward so quickly.
And that Zonya's from Faker. 10 years in the game, reflexes like Zeus. Unbelievable performance. T1 now in firm control of game 2.
Honestly, I think the critical factor here has been the speed that T1 are throwing these questions at JDG. It is like a rapid fire test. 1 second to answer each move. Boom, they go to Baron. They burn it down. If you're slow on this, they get the Baron empowered recalls. They double commit to the push on the top side. They get the inhibitor. They consistently are forcing you into macro decisions, and there's no time to respawn.
And so much of the credit needs to be given to the T1 solo laners, Zeus and Faker. They have been running rampant on the side lanes. Their map play has been exquisite, and now they find themselves Zeus level 16, Faker level 16, level advantages across the board. They're just not going to give JDG the team fight that they're looking for.
Yeah, and now with double inhibitors down, you have such an easy time of controlling all the resources on the map. You can see it right now. They've completely wiped both jungles here of any resources for JDG to take, and if they litter the pathways through the jungle, all they have to do is retreat to Dragon, stop this Dragon Soul stacking, and JDG kind of forced to clean up all of these minions inside their base. They cannot afford to leave lest you get split pushed to death.
So the farm continues. We are on 3 out of 4. Yeah, Hope has himself a Guardian Angel. Baron is up right now, and you can see T1 on the way over.
They don't care about Cloud Souls at all. They want to give up another one in exchange for the Baron. Guma trying to buy them some time. This is merely trying to push JDG away from the Baron while the rest of the team can burn it.
Clean.
You have an IE and a Zeal on Zeus. He's going to be fine to burn down this Baron. There's the vision gain. Will it be enough? Guma not hit by almost anything. Kanavi does not land the CC. So look at a mid-wave. 369 is here, but Baron is certain to be claimed. Now the question is map control, because you know their eyes are set on Dragon Soul. Good damage on a miss. He's got a half HP.
That was a lot of damage already onto the support, but look, T1 don't care. They didn't care in game 1. They have their eyes set on the Nexus, and JDG recognize it. But T1 having control over the mid-wave, it is they who have the push, and guess what they can do with it? They can force JDG to back off and move to the Drake. T1 just get everything and then more.
T1 just got Baron, and JDG got 2 mid minion waves for it. Just really, really high pressure there, and Gumayushi.
Oh, he's going to spot him. Ulti, only going to catch in the champion, which means they can land the CC combo, and they can find this kill in a Zeus. Now, will it be enough to do anything else, though? Because the Drake is certainly to be claimed by T1.
Yep, your life is payment for stopping the Dragon Soul stacking here. T1, they actually made a lot out of those double inhibitors being down.
Oh, yeah.
What a fun game.
Wow, I'm just so impressed with T1. I felt like coming into game 2, after what we saw from JDG in game 1, was that JDG just have a really good understanding of how to play the map, and then T1 completely usurped my expectations, and the way they've been playing these side lanes is just a joy to behold. We have 2 incredible teams competing right now.
Specifically, Gumayushi has been playing on the edge with this solution. We criticize him when he gets hit with Yagao's Everfrost twice. Yagao, amazing play from him to be able to snipe him and the Fog of War play, but it's also Guma playing on the edge that has consistently killed Hope with the ultimate plus the Gale Force usage.
Oh, stealing away. Colin, going to be some decent damage. A couple of recalls already came through. 369 is on the flank. Carrier could be 1 kill, but they want more than that one. The flash forward, Shades won't land. Carrier will drop, but not going to go for the ulti on Guma. It's Zeus who matters. They find the first one, they find the slow. The base is being attacked. Kanavi is there to defend it, and Faker's going to get away, but that means he can reinforce the team fight. Looking for the kill onto Zeus. Missing, running for his life. Owner going to set up for another as Guma has already gotten a double double kill. And Order's going to set up the third. That will be a kill onto Missing. And now it's T1 against just 2. 4v2 in the base. Minions and a Baron flooding it as well. 20 there in a gold bonus on the power play, and now going for the Nexus turrets. T1 looking to tie up this series, and Kanavi tries to bait the CC, burns the stopwatch, flashes in, finds what damage he can, and buys a bit of time, because guess what? The LCK here at Worlds are stopped by inhibitors, and T1 will not find the game just yet.
Wow, T1 can't actually end because the inhibitor will in fact come back out onto the map. But what a crazy fight we just saw. JDG was setting up for the flank. They were looking to try and catch T1 in their recalls. But T1 again play it so well. They create 2 points of pressure. They force JDG to split apart. And the second that they are, Faker's Realm Warp collapses onto the team and creates a numbers advantage. This is how you play a split push comp. This is how you play against a team fight. Great execution once again from T1.
Exactly, and look how quick they answer. Teleport from 369 comes in. They want the team fight, but T1 say, we don't want the team fight. We want to pressure your Nexus. So with the teleport into the base from Faker, he forces the answer from JDG. They have to teleport out Yagao, meanwhile allowing the interrupt here, Zeus.
Oh my word.
Zeus. He interrupts the teleport. He basically kills 2, sets up the double for Gumayushi. T1 just pulling JDG across the map, making use of their big advantage. Now Faker, though, on the run.
Jumping in by himself. Hope's going to be moving pretty fast. He'll be rooted in place, though, but the damage might not be enough. Whimsy does not find the slow
team is going
afterwards.
Kanavi is going back to base. Hope is looking to get that kill on the Faker, but he's just buying time for his team as much as possible. The ultimate from Oda.
Yep, Kanavi's going to find that first kill. He's going to transform, but actually the shutdown goes through. 369 finds his engage, but cannot kill Keria. Hover not going to be in threat much himself. Yagao doesn't find the root for Zazonias. In comes Zeus, knocks down Missing, and there's the rest from Owner. Gets the second. Hope going to lose the Guardian Angel, but how about the rest? As everyone's starting to fall, Kanavi is left alone, but you can't do it by yourself. You need a team, and T1 will tie up the scoreline 1-1 in the semifinals.
Gumayushi gets hit with 2 Everfrost early in the game, dies both times, but dodges the game-winning 3rd Everfrost. They force these Zonias, they kill Yagao. Him and Zeus destroy that last fight. What magnificent stuff from those 2 players on T1. Back-to-back huge carry performances.
I think you summed it up really well, Kobe, in that Gumayushi, that level of aggression has lows, but the highs are incredible. The way in which he navigated those team fights, the way he consistently shut down Hope 1v1 in the mid lane twice throughout this game was a joy to see, along with Faker and Zeus just dancing around the JDG team.
When you play on a knife's edge, sometimes you get cut. But Gumayushi made it so worth. I'm having so much fun watching these games with you right now. Amazing series, and we even it up. Couldn't ask for anything more.
Yeah, huge out of T1 so far. A ton of homegrown talent. 4 of those players scouted by T1 themselves. Gumayushi just incredible in that game. I believe we're going to be breaking down that game at the Analyst Desk, so stay tuned for that.
Thank you so much, Freak, and welcome back to the Analyst Desk here at the State Farm Arena. We're all tied up at 1-1. T1 strike back in game number 2 to bring us to even marks. We're going to start in the draft, as we always do, because we had yet another unique champion pick here at Worlds, Mark. The Malphite coming in for 369.
Yeah, I didn't want to talk about that. We're going to talk about actually the
But
Sylas.
I want to talk about
We'll
it.
get to it. It was later. It was after the Sylas priority, which I think
right.
was really important in this matchup. It was banned in game 1, went to game 2, and they were able to take that one away for JDG, but I don't think it was able to be piloted to the most of its ability. There weren't a ton of chains landing or Everfrost or anything like that, and I think that was something that gave them the advantage in a very heavy 1-3-1 game that broke out if you're not individually able to keep pace with the other team.
Yeah, the big picks here for me from on the T1 side that they focused on was Ryze and Yone. And it's not just like, oh, it's Faker's Ryze. It's the global pressure it gives. And actually it is, oh, it's Yone. It's Zeus's Yone, because he is absolutely phenomenal on this pick. And when I talk about how much T1 has improved as a team, this game demonstrates that perfectly. How they were able to execute, how they constantly had side lane pressure.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the Ryze was a good pick into the Sylas. I think it's not so much a counter, but it's a good lane matchup because you can contest the push. You are a little bit vulnerable. I didn't like the Malphite that much, but I can see the logic.
Why?
The T1 comp is relatively short range. Ryze is a very short control mage, and Lucian always dashes in. So you're always going to have good angles. And I think 369 in some of these Dragon fights did get good knockups. The problem is I think JDG's draft lacks follow-up. If the Sylas is behind, which he was, and Ryze has side push, so he's first the objective, then it's just really hard for Sylas to join the fights. Maybe you can take away the culling or something along those lines, but what he majority of the time did was take away the Poppy ult to try to knock away the Yone or the Poppy themselves, and then go into the backline with the Malphite. But it's really hard to dive in. Even if he's going front to back, the Poppy can stop him, the Nami can stop him. So the follow-up was just a little bit lacking.
Yeah, fair enough. Because again, I think when most people look at this draft, right, they see a blind Yone pick and they go, that's bold. That's a bold move there, Cotton, right? You know, and it's against 369 of all people. So it is a little interesting that he jumps to the Malphite of all things in order to counter it. And obviously it wasn't to the greatest of effects. But that's all said and done. That's one thing. The other thing is Zeus is just popping off left and right. He's going to be a hard guy to contain when he's pulling off things like he has in this game. As we know, every second counts, and thanks to the reliable Cisco network, he put on the fancy footwork down in the bot lane.
I mean, just look at his mechanics in this play. 369 ults a little bit early, but he knows that the wave's pushing into Zeus, so he's going to disengage, so he wants to force the fight. Kanavi doesn't get the knockup, of course, but it's the turn here from Zeus and Owner onto the Malphite to get the full burst down. Even if he flashes there, he's going to die because the gap closed. Yagao comes down, but I think Zeus's movement here was just so clean in just making sure that if any of these spells land, he's dead. Sylas Chain, he's dead, dodges it. Whoop. This knockup from Velvet, he's dead, dodges it. Flashes the Yone ult, and then they just pull onto Yagao, who actually gets the tower aggro, I think, or Kanavi's tanking, but regardless, he's in range for Zeus to follow up.
Snap back.
The snap back from the Q2 as well, and then Q3ing back through to make sure he can't gap close out. It was just, you cannot play it better than that.
I didn't know that was coming.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I got me.
And it was the entire game, too. It was moment after moment like that. That was obviously the highlight one of it, but he was so mechanically good. Every single fight, every single gank attempt that came his way, he felt like two champions. Like, if you tried to 2v1 him, it was still actually a close fight.
And if you just look at the meta, it just allows for these things to happen. There's no Azir, there's no Sion Ornn, there's no front-to-back scaling Jinx, Tahm Kench, Aphelios, right? You're playing champs with dashes that either go in aggressively or they're dashing out because the other person's coming in aggressively, right? So that's the beauty of the game right now with the current meta. It's just so fun to watch because it's high tempo, high action, skirmish heavy, so it allows for these kind of moments.
Well, that's the only reason I wanted to bring up the Malphite so desperately, is because that is JDG's choice into the Yone. And when you get beat with your own counter pick, it's going to start to make you think and start to warp that draft even more. We'll get into what we want to see in Game 3. First, we got to talk a little bit more about how this game broke down. I hand things over to Emily here as we work through some of the big team fights here in Neighborhood Tactics presented by State Farm.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even realize I'd be able to draw on this. So basically, there's going to be a bot lane play. Mark is going to be the hands.
I'll try and assist. We didn't plan this one out.
Yeah, let's go. So they're going to... You can play the clip. All right, here we go. So they're going to try to dive on Zeus in the bot lane. And the most important thing here, and the thing that's more impressive to me about T1 in this particular moment, is as soon as they recognize this TP ends up going through from Yagao into bot lane, Zeus escapes, they actually are immediately going to start pinging the Baron soon. It happens, I promise. Yeah, because they recognize, there we go, ping goes down, they recognize this is exactly what they can go after, because Zeus and Faker can TP up topside, and they already know that JDG can't match. They Ryze ult in, it's just so smart. And I love this from T1. I love how much this team has grown and how they see the map now.
You ever seen two people pull off a triple TP? Because that's what just happened.
That is just what happened. And I think the nuance and the beauty of this is, first of all, there's one TP invested bot, so you know you can force a numbers advantage.
Right.
The second one is they don't TP on wards around Baron, they TP on the wave.
Yep.
It's really hard to spot that. If you TP on a pink ward, you can see that on the minimap, even if it's out of vision. If you TP on a creep, they can't see it no matter what, as long as they don't have vision there. So they TP on their own creep wave between towers and then Ryze ult together. So it gives you more space and more time to pull it off. And the more time you can buy on a Baron rush, the better.
It's next level.
This is what makes T1 such a formidable opponent. It's not just that they have the hands to do that Yone outplay, but they also have the brains to run you around the map when they do a 1-3-1 comp like this. And it's why people had them kind of as the favorites coming in, is they bring both parts of the game, the macro and the micro.
Yeah, they definitely do. And one quick shout out I want to give to is to the T1 bot lane. I think that Gumiyushi made a couple of mistakes here and there, but the Lucian Nami prio is working. We saw in the I think it was the Gen G series that the Lucian Nami was just getting countered. It just didn't really work. They go back to Aphelios Lulu. T1 stuck with it. They kept the confidence. Even if Sylas is up, they just pick Nami first pick, and he is doing work. And maybe you can't spot it at times. You know, the pop-off moments when he kills Hope, it's great. But getting mid-push is so important, and I feel like this Lucian Nami has so much much threat on mid waves in the mid game. That's allowing T1 to get to these objectives first and make these side plays.
Yeah, one of the underrated things about the 1-3-1, like, of course you're going to pay attention to Faker constantly in the side lane with the Rise. Of course you're going to pay attention to Zeus popping off on Yone, but it's the 3, right? That's actually a huge component of it, and Guma was everywhere they needed him to be.
Well, we're all tied up at 1-1, and now it's JDG's turn to respond as they select blue side for game number 3. Worlds is a gauntlet, as we know, and the best way to keep up with all of the action on the go is Riot Mobile. It's home to all things League, Valorant, and more, where you can watch Worlds live, catch up on series scores, and chat about all the action with friends. Check it out. We'll see you back here for game number 3 right after this.
Sidestep Zeus' first Q. Gotta find the knockup now on Owner as well. He'll stay alive. They go back in for the combo. Huge damage coming across, and he's gonna find the kill to 369. In the bot side is a fight though. Faker attacked, but tanky for a while. Huge ulti from Zeus. Gets 1, gets 2. Yagao doesn't find the root for his Azonias. In comes Zeus, knocks down Mystic, and there's the rest from Owner. Gets the second. Hope gonna lose the Guardian Angel, but how about the rest? As everyone's starting to fall, Kanavi is left alone, but you can't do it by yourself. You need a team, and T1 will tie up the scoreline.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Bring me the next shiny new thing. 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 I strike gold. Yeah, I strike lightning. Oh, bring me the next. Oh, bring me the next.
Welcome back to the State Farm Arena. We just went behind the scenes at the Atlanta feature shoot thanks to the OnePlus Cam. And hey, we've got at least 2 more games that's coming on. Game 1 and 2, both very exciting so far. Tied 1-1, anyone's match.
It's so cool because both games were so unique, right? Yeah. And especially in this one, I feel like that last one really does mean a lot. One of our biggest questions coming in were the mid-lane triumvirate of champions, and Faker has just cracked it. There's like, Yagao, you know what? You want Silas more than anything. Played it 6 out of the last 7 games. Fine, have it. We pick Rise, we double solo lane split push, and actually split push you to victory. People were saying, myself included, that you can't win through split push anymore. Dragons had got buffed, Dragon Soul's too powerful, you always have to team fight, and T1 in the semifinals just annihilated them by outplaying them and picking them across the map.
I think there are 2 things that contributed to T1's success. Number 1, brain, very big. Very, very big.
Big brain.
Yeah,
Got
big
it.
brain.
Step number 1.
Number 2, I think that the Cloud Soul in 2 games in a row also made it easier for T1 to say, we're fine giving you this soul. Like, it's one of those trades where we saw in both games they were willing to trade Baron for the soul, and I wonder if their priorities would have shifted if it was something like an Infernal, where perhaps that damage threat could have been the difference maker in JDG being able to turn the game around.
And I actually love to see that because dynamically updating your value of objectives on the map is what is intended with that change, with the introduction of these dragons and this different power level, them giving different buffs. It is not just a blanket, oh, you're stronger now. It's really cool, actually, to see that strategy taken into account.
What's interesting for me is JDG, 369, the rest of that team, they picked blue side now that they have lost a game. They've chosen to go over to blue. What's interesting to me, though, is the fact that in game 1, he counterpicks fighter versus fighter, gets the resources, and is a large reason why they win the game. Because the rest is back and forth, right? Gumayushi topped the damage charts in both games. Faker was around the map in both games. But 369 being able to individually be the difference maker was what, to me, tipped game 1 in their favor. He goes for a team fight option where it's, don't give me the resources, we'll just do stuff in mid-game, and that didn't work out. On blue side, both teams are drafted for top lane at the very end, and it feels like he's not going to have that same 1v1 agency he had in game 1.
Yeah, I think you need something that gives you personal agency to outplay, because these T1 members, how can you hit them with skill shots? Even Faker, you mentioned it. Faker, 10 years in, don't care. You can't hit him. Sonya's flashes, Zayu's popping off. The 18-year-old top lane prodigy.
They banned Yone, Kobe. They banned it on blue side. Like,
you're damn right they did.
I mean, Zeus, we know that he's a god, both in the mythological sense and the literal sense, right? The man is mechanically incredibly gifted, but to see a blind Yone ban is crazy. What does that mean? Is up and available? No, there's no shot they're going to lock in an Ornn blind as the first rotation. They could look to grab the Lucian themselves. No, they're going to get the Viego, make sure that Kanavi is on something that they had a huge amount of success with in game 1.
I like refocusing here for JDG. Kanavi is the heart of this team, you know, and really doubling down on that. Agree with the first pick for Viego. He's been so versatile at this, tournament with the pick. But as Kajal said on the desk, the Lucian Nami priority has been working, and my goodness, Guma is on fire. Those mechanics on display in the last one. You get hit with a couple Everfrost, it's fine. Shrug it off, get right back in their faces, and do it again.
You would expect then the Aphelios Lulu to then come out immediately from JDG, right?
I think there's another thing in the wheelhouse they can run a bit down the line. But yeah, it gives T1 the chance at something interesting, unanswerable there on pick 3. Auto on a mid without counters, bam, 2 bans. One on top lane, like the Yone that obviously is banned away in this case. Without counters, bam, 2 bans away. So yes, expecting the Aphelios Lulu, you trade the 2 for the 2. But they're taking as much time as they can as it all ticks down. They let the timer lock in the Aphelios. They decide, yeah, is it Lulu? Yes, it is, okay. So all the draft bucks go over to the Viego. It is the same 3 champions they picked in game 1. We'll see now what T1 want for themselves in the 3rd pick. Lucian, of course, expected.
What will T1 go for? Expectations are jungle right now, but Onar has already demonstrated that he has a very deep champion pool, and he's quite happy to pick whatever they want. I think there's room for something like a Trundle to be good here, especially if they want a little bit more early game agency, but he does very well into the Viego matchup, depending on... Nope, they're instead just going to pick Faker's Rise. They want to make sure that he has that comfort and the ability to roam and attack these side lanes.
I love it. When we get these lore picks in esports, Faker with literal movies made about him on the champion Blind picks it, says, Yagao, what is your move, my friend? And let me remind you, this meta right now, the majority of mid laners are saying there's like two matchups you can pick Ryze into anymore. This is not a widespread thing. This is Faker specific. This is GOAT specific. And then you can double protection ban it against Yagao with the map mobility champions. The two preferential ones, the Talia and the Gallia.
So a few things I've spotted. The first is that T1 have decided to mitigate any roaming matching that Yagao typically goes for. This does make me question if he's thinking about a Twisted Fate. This was something that he often fell back on if he wants to make sure that he can attack these side lanes. The other thing that I noticed is this Jace ban does suggest to me that they're looking at a Fiora top line for 369.
T1 are saying we can play the entire map on Summoner's Rift, and you cannot, JDG. You cannot catch up with us. Vedius, glad to be here with a Nocturne pick, even though it's not mid lane with you. Because being able to turn off the lights, you saw what T1 were able to do, pulling JDG across the map in the previous game. Now you can deny teleports even with the early Nocturne ultimate and Ryze plays from Faker. He obviously still has it with the Realm Warps. JDG though, they stick to comfort. They got the Viego already for 369, throw the Renekton for 369 there, as well as the Viego for Kanavi.
So the Renekton does make a lot of sense in terms of being a safe blind. There aren't many things that Zeus could pick that would give him a winning matchup, but he doesn't need a winning matchup. We know how versatile of a player he is, and Carrier's just flexing through all the different champions that he could pick as an option.
I actually loved the hover of the Gangplank the most because it gives him another global to work with. And I have confidence in Zeus as far as the carry play. Yeah, even though that was just a hover early, that is my preferred matchup into Renekton. Have confidence in Zeus to avoid letting 369 stack a big enough wave to dive him on. 369 is a solo kill specialist. As we said coming into this game, he has the highest solo kills of anyone in the tournament at 7. Now, though, against Zeus, can you do it? Gangplank, if you stack a wave versus him, maybe they could bring Kanavi and go for the kill, but you're going to have to coordinate.
The thing that I love about T1's approach to the draft in this series is they recognize, as the world does, that JDG have gotten this far because of their team fighting. Their objective setup, their control around the map is what makes them world class. So T1 said, you know what? How do you fare in 1v1, 2v2, and side lanes? And this is an area where JDG have not consistently been tested, whereas T1 is more than happy to play that style. With Zeus and Faker playing at their prime, it is an advantage that JDG just don't seem to have a reliable answer for.
It's globals, globals, globals for T1. And first pick, Lucian Nami, bottom lane. The core of it all. Guma and Keria, top 2 KDA players coming into this series, and they are proving worth the investment.
We'll see how many more games T1 can pick up. Game 1 was incredibly close. Game 2, pretty close as well, but T1 closed it out with a lot of swagger at the end. And now we get to see it all again. Certainly Gangplank, a bit fewer tools than Yone in super outplaying a 1v3, but I want to see it all the same. We know Zeus is an incredible player. Owner, we'll see how much he's able to play around the Renekton. The gank power not huge up there, but I want to know what he does other than rush level 6.
And Zeus has started with Corrupting Potion here for himself on the Gangplank, so you can be very, very aggressive in early lane phase, spamming out your Qs with your Corrupting Potion ticking to get a lot of strong trades. But the real crux will be, can he get enough money for his Sheen back with that investment?
Well, Prime Gaming is giving away 150,000 RP to several lucky fans every single day of Worlds. Head over to PrimeGamingWorlds22.com to enter and make sure to put in today's secret code to get bonus entries.
Run from it, hide from it. It will find you all the same. The TSM chants have made their way.
In every city, which I am very happy about. It is so much fun to be back here casting in front of a 20,000 person arena. Do you want to sound like 20,000 people right now?
The
Thank you.
energy is electric here in Atlanta, Georgia. Let's see if we can keep that energy up as we move into game 3. So we're looking at the early game, the early pathing. Ona going to start on the Raptors. Nocturne's early clear through these multiple mob camps is very fast, very efficient. and he's likely going to convert that into the red, and then perhaps do a full clear topside or path towards his bot.
Yeah, definitely expect a full clear from him. Should be noted that during 369, base tanking the barrel tri-brush play here from Zeus, he was able to get his ward there down onto the Krugs, so they'll have that timer on the Nocturne full clear. And it is also worth noting, you don't just go from Raptors to red for your full clear for Nocturne. He's trying to get all these smaller camps down and respawning quicker by going to Krugs first, then picking up red buff.
It's a hyper-efficient path, right? Because as you rightly said, it gets those respawn timers going much quicker, but also what's crucial is he's doing a full clear from topside into the bot lane. The person we also have to keep our eyes on is Kanavi. Often what he's done is full clear on one side of the map into a mid lane gank. We've seen that 2 times in a row, and we've seen Faker burn some type of summoner, whether it be Ghost or Flash, or basically pressure being put onto Faker in mid lane. This ward, though, that you just highlighted for me, Kobe, covers for that. T1 have adapted, and they've recognized that this is a consistent play that Kanavi looks to make, so they're mitigating any early pressure to give Faker a little bit more safety in the 1v1.
One more poke in the bottom side. Temporary 3 CS lead here for Guma as he's shoving that one down. Obviously, Nocturne has rushed down to his bottom side now, gets his own blue buff at level 3, and then can kind of path back up. We'll see which way he goes long term. Yagao makes like he's putting a ward down. Looks like he actually doesn't go for it, but makes the move to say, I've warded the invade, you know. Actually finally does put it down. So we'll see if Nocturne comes through, or if he goes for a gank through. Obviously, he wants to go behind. It's hard to gank Azir from the front. And it's far enough back that the controller doesn't see it. Actually pretty important to get the positioning right away from a control ward. Kanavi has skipped one camp and is up top side.
This is what I was talking about for playing against Gangplank. Stack a wave and go for the dive early. That's your opening.
Here we go. Wants to find this done at the right time. Lets the W go down, puts all the attacks done at one time. Zeus just going to let him drop the aggro, but the health bar's down to 100. He can't clear his wave very fast. The turret's been reset. Second stun comes across. First blood claimed. Kanavi will have to flash to drop aggro.
They did it. They execute on the stack, wave, and dive versus Gangplank. The classic for Renekton matchup here into it. I will say as well, for that early W, Kanavi was trying to predict the flash. Even though it looks kind of weird there, Zeus holds onto his flash. He saves the summoner spell, still goes down, and is able to teleport right back, so at least he doesn't lose that many minions.
And crucially, he got 11 CS and Futures Market, meaning he could afford Sheen on the recall.
Yeah.
That is so important as the Gangplank, and he has the item he needs to play his lane out.
That was our exact question for him.
Yeah.
So big stuff there, even though going down. So JDG with that first blood money, repeat from Kanavi as the wave has bounced back.
And Nocturne's here. Now Renekton, I mean, it's Pickaxe versus Sheen. They're actually both relatively powerful here. Gets away from the barrels, gets the passive back, and the bait, the trap has been set. Zeus gonna be hit, eats the oranges, stays up for now. Oder wants a bit more, but he's waiting out. Belgian, it's nothing. The flash in, Zeus, the flash follow. It's a 1-for-1, but can Renekton win against Nocturne? The big stun, and 369 is good for a 3-1 scoreline.
And there's no teleport on Zeus. Look at this minion wave. 369, he's so satisfied. Can keep the minion wave there. Zeus is gonna have to walk all the way back. Here it is, Kanavi. Such a big brain counter gank here. And then when Owner and Zeus try and flash forward to finish off the kill on him, they get the answer, and 369 can finish off the second kill as well with all the rage he had stacked up on the Renekton.
The initial problem with that play for 369 was that his abilities were on cooldown. Just before that play happened, he invested everything onto getting a short trade against Zeus, which made it awkward. So Kanavi getting that initial exchange onto Zeus was really smart because it just bought 369 that extra bit of time. But it also gave the JDG top jungle an opportunity to get revenge after they got hard outplayed last game.
Yeah, 369 has an ulti. What's the stun gonna look like is the question. Nocturne's nearby. Conqueror is stacked up. Oh no, Owner's here. Just kidding. We got our own jungler. The fear lands. Kanavi's gonna get one. And it's time to be afraid. In the bot side, it's Hope extinguishing it from T1. Gets the root. The flash from Faker. Missing. Hit with the bubble. Carrier doesn't. And Faker gonna try to find the rest. Missing. Iato gets a single. It's 2 for 2 as Faker cleans it up.
Oh my god, more action! Oh, yes!
He missed! He missed the ulti! Zeus sidesteps it and turns one back.
11 kills, 6 minutes into of the game. We promised you a bloodbath, and in the arena, both teams are delivering.
Inject 5 games of this right into my veins. My goodness, they are so aggressive going for that dive. Konami here right into the face of Zeus, and he stands tall. Q right in front of him, gets the kill, plus gets that minion wave. That was so critical. You know what Konami was thinking? He was thinking, if I could kill him here, this Gangplank is out of the game. Losing another giant stacked wave would be just devastating, and yet he pulls it out. Both dives. Let's take a look back at the beginning before all the craziness.
So 369, he gets level 6 and he's committed to getting this kill. Doesn't quite have the stun up yet, not sure where that was available, but you're gonna see him use it just now as the Nocturne spell shield gets broken by the Q into the stun. But it's enough damage for Konami to get that conversion and then go for a commitment onto Zeus. He's so low in the top lane. Oh,
the
but
orange.
the heal, and he realizes Konami, if he stays underneath that tower, it's gonna be a 1-for-1. We didn't get to see the 2v2 kill in bot lane
Owner
as we get
6.
back into action.
Both jungles have ultis, but there's no fight to be had. The CC not really there to be landed. Of course, missing without much available on his kit. Ulti not there just yet. Barely level 5 for Keria, so far from Tidal Wave. Just gonna be there to clear out the wave and let it shove in.
So we can see once again Konami covering for his laners. This is something that he's consistently done throughout the series to make sure that they can get this push underneath the tower to either allow him to invade, get deep vision, or to allow the laners to reset and spend that gold. Right now they're contesting that bot side River Vision. You will be able to secure that crab, and T1 will just be forced to watch.
Now, as we move forward, what is this bottom lane going to mean?
It means Nocturne is in the lane, and it means Hope has died. Missing a bit low, but not enough damage to kill him out of the turret.
Exactly, we can't even get our words out. It's so action-packed here. T1's strategy, though, remember, all the globals drafted to play around this bottom lane. The first pick, Lucian Nami, rewarded again. This is now a 2-kill Faker Rise in mid lane that can roam down there, plus the Nocturne ultimate just used by Owner will secure not only turret plates for Guma and Keria, but also the dragon stacking starts now.
And I think that that was really crucial for T1 because dying in the 2 versus 2 from JDG was not a great position for the Lucian Nami to be in. We've seen Gumayushi do this before, but he's able to bounce back as he demonstrated last game. But the fact that Faker and Owner can consistently roam towards the bot side of the map and just make sure that T1's duo stays ahead is something that Yagao just can't match on the Azir.
Exactly. No lane is safe now. T1, with their draft, investing so heavily into globals. Zeus is going to be pushed off a little bit more of this top lane presence.
Just getting him off the XP, but the same thing, of course, was happening to the JDG bottom side. Faker goes back to mid to play his own wave. And Konami just going to take away the Krugs. As you can see, 369 gets his second plate, and the Q is going to land at the right time. Konami autos it a bit too early, gets it low, and Parlay takes the lion's share of the XP away from Konami. The gold, though, still mostly on the small ones. But now this turret dies to a simple Herald charge. They want it on Hope. They can lane swap, get him topside and summon the Herald for him.
It's one of the reasons why Zeus is so hyped up as this young top lane prodigy. Not just because of the pop-off moments, because of the big carry games, but also his ability to play on the weak side here, giving up the extra wave, still staying calm, going in, last hitting with the Q on the attempted jungle, counter jungle there as well for himself. And even though he's significantly behind in CS with all the top lane focus, his ult is ready and enables T1 to make that cross-map play now.
Certainly is. We'll see where he chooses to invest it. Right now, both supports have made their way back out onto the map. Keria, in the first 2 games, went deathless. So far in this game, he was killed, but by missing, which is quite ironic that the only person that can kill him before 15 minutes is another support. But T1 dead even right now with JDG with a slight gold lead. Faker has to be careful, though. The ultimate is available for Yagao. He chooses not to commit those. They don't know it, but they're wary of Owner and his ability to very quickly join the fight.
Yeah, they're just itching to use this global composition. Gangplank ultimate ready, Nocturne ultimate ready, Faker as well afterwards with the Realm Warp. If they first get the kill, then he can Realm Warp the minions forward to help push on towers, and they're going now. Big damage down to the turret, down to 2 plates itself, as Hope will be able to clear the wave out, but it forces that TP from Yagao, and it means T1 gets to push down mid lane first. Maybe Faker can come out of plate down to this mid lane. Much like last game, T1 with all the advantages in the questions that they can pose to JDG. Hey, what will you do if we force on bottom lane? Well, you have to teleport. Now you've got this giant long cooldown. You can't get right back to mid. They just push the mid lane in. They will take the teleport cooldown advantage and not force the dive there. Just use the cooldowns elsewhere.
I like the way that you described that. It's T1. Oh, hang on, ult.
Nocturne is here, waits for the double dash, flashes on both of them. Is it gonna be able to gangplank ulti? 369 runs away, flash for flash, 2 for 1 on ultimates. 369 barely lives, has zone TP to get back to lane.
The play was great from Mona. You flash commit to make sure that the tether stays in range of the champion you're looking to fear. Unfortunately, Zeus just couldn't quite get in range to deal that extra bit of damage to get the kill.
Big heal, actually, 140 back on that one. Kanavi getting a bit low, but he's not in range of hard CC, and helps the wave get cleared. Gets his own fast recall because of the Herald and inventory, but timer down below 1 minute, has to make his way to a lane soon.
I want to point out how far forward all these lanes are for T1. Look at this, the tenacious fighting. Bottom lane shoving up in the 2v2. Top lane constantly being matched by Owner in the 2v2. Faker as well. Mid lane. They are not letting JDG move onto this map.
T1, they know how to play the early game with high aggression. This is a team that throughout the year has been known for their incredibly dominant early game. And I think that they've demonstrated at this World Championship that they know how to transition that lead into quick wins. Most of their games, sub 30 minutes. This is a team that dominates with the early lead, but JDG, they're used to aggression, okay? They're from the LPL, the homeland of aggressive tendencies in the early game, and they are accustomed to weathering that storm. The question is, can they get the fights that they're looking for?
And especially in that aggressive homeland, they're the kings of coming back. So that keeps it exciting here. We'll see if they're able to fight their way out of it this time.
Well, the money of the turret does go to 369. Gorge Rinker now done. As he, of course, tries to stack his armor against Triple AD, holding the front line with his Gorge Rinker. Has the gold lead, but obviously the scaling so much better on the gangplank area. Looking for any wards that could be put down or swept away. The red buff will be claimed.
I think possibly the biggest difference too in this game is that this is a game where T1 are going to be the early Dragon stacking team. So Dragon arriving very shortly here. No teleport on Zeus or ultimate from the gangplank. This is the one that gets a little bit dicey on the timing windows. Of course, your gangplank ultimate cooldown comes up really quickly. So as long as it doesn't happen right now.
Yeah, ult for ult, 369 takes the fight. The barrel's gonna get hit though, which means the slow is there. The passive reset, and Zeus wants to be the king of top lane. Barrels it down for a bit though, gets his passive back, flashes in, but it means the stun! Zeus flashes to deliver 300 gold. And we got more though, the fight isn't done. Tidewave coming across the bottom side. The knockup's gonna land. Lulu buys him some time, just barely does JD live.
This is the battle of top laners we wanted to see. 369 struck first, Zeus bounced back in game 2, and we saw the isolated 1v1 matchup. It was close, but Zeus oversteps, and 369 comes out on top.
They have them both right now. They can both show up for this one. Can he ult over the wall? Kanavi is gonna burn that one. Flashes first, Nami's there, and the kill comes across. Faker's on a killing spree, missing flashes for his life.
They got the early roam so they can fully commit. Even with Yagao coming to try and close the gap here, T1 getting the early kill onto Kanavi means they will get priority on Dragon. They will get the objective despite Zeus.
Good trade there from Faker. But wow, I mean, every time we see one advantage gained somewhere, the other team gains an advantage elsewhere on the map. And it was just really good awareness from T1 to commit to that bot side of the map play. They're able to collapse much faster compared to JDG, largely because of this Z in the mid lane, and Faker on the rise once again is first to the play. But let's look back at this 1v1.
So Zeus feeling pretty confident with his Trinity Force, but on live, I was looking at the cooldown for his ultimate. It was only a few more seconds afterwards. And you can see here he has the option with extra distance, but he flashes in instead without waiting for the ultimate, and 369 just rips him a new one. This is 369 Renekton, okay? Known for it. And he gets the last lap. Rift Herald coming up very quickly though.
I popped Smiteable, who's gonna claim it. Was owner before. This time around it does go to JDG. Kanavi gets the eye. 2 Drakes to 0. Gold actually 1,000 in T1's favor as well. The top scoreboard says T1 are winning game 3. Yagao just farming so far has not found his way into any meaningful team fights. See if the Herald charge can mean a bit more. It is 1-1 in turrets. Plates were close earlier. 369 able to hold the front line decently well. But need a seal to come back on in. Has his flash soon. Ulti's up now. Could try to find a target. Guma has his cleanse. Of course, Zeus has oranges. Everyone else is the target.
So the awkward thing for T1 right now is their waves aren't in a great spot. If you look top, you can see that with no tower, Zeus' wave will force him to overextend. He is going to go answer it now as Guma use She. will be forced to dash out. But the bot lane in the same vein, Faker can't really be sent to that bot lane, which means that JDG could just force this skirmish in the mid lane. There was room there for JDG to actually commit onto that tower, maybe even force a fight. But they decide, you know what, now that Zeus has pushed out that top wave, we'll go and catch it, and we'll look to reset.
Yeah, T1 looked to get some breathing room. They sent Faker down to bottom side. This is the only lane where they had already taken the outer tower. So Faker trying to push on bottom, get the minions up to the secondary tower, while the rest of the 4 squad here puts pressure on mid.
The waves have cleared away. JDG obviously pretty good scaling on the Aphelios down here, but Guma has always put out so much damage in these fights, moving towards his own rapid fire cannon later on. Missing, gets his Shurelius done. JDG ever confident in the movement speed. We get 3 games in a row of Cloud Rift. Let's hear it for Cloud Dragon, baby. Yeah, it's the best one. My pick'ems are thankful, I will say.
Oh, it actually has been 3 in a row.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I've been very keen on that one because Cloud Drake was the least killed Drake coming into this series. Oh, that's a big combo coming off, but Guma's not going to die to it.
Bit of damage will at the very least delay Guma's back. The Herald will be now dropped mid. Opening this up gives JDG a lot more control and makes it easier to push into the enemy jungle.
They've got a ward on him. 369 is seen.
Here comes Tidal, here's the rest of it, flashing on enemies. Nocturne is left alone in the back line. Gotta stay alive, the scoop coming across. It hits 2, a flash away from Keria. Somehow Owner is still not dead. Kanavi dives in, and the dive out of the tower. 369 gets 1, but it's a one-way trip. Faker takes him out.
Yeah, that's a dive under tower, all right. 369 wanted another solo bolo onto Zeus, and he does get it, but at the cost of his own life. And it means JDG can't then finish out the tower after that little scrap. Nice little opening from Yagao, though, as he saw the angle, sweeps in, gets the knockback for the extra kill.
Faker holds the line, though. 4-0-0 now on the rise. He's just been picking up kill after kill, and he was the benefactor of 369's aggression. I believe he also picked up a shutdown as well. So this mid laner will only continue to get stronger, but let's have a look here. The Herald gets dropped down. Guma gets stunned up. The ultimate to disengage from JDG diving underneath the tower, but then there's no follow-up onto Owner's engage. Then the ultimate from Yagao is good, lands onto 2 members of T1. They're forced to flash out. Meanwhile, on the back line, 369 is able to get the kill onto Zeus. But look at Faker, locking up Zeus underneath the towers means that those stacking tower shots will hand the kill over to him. Oh, shutdown. Seems that I was incorrect in that statement, but regardless, it ends up being 1 for 2 overall, but the tower still stays strong, and T1 hold on to the gold lead.
Once again, into Black Cleaver 369, he gets the build path there. Cold nearly done, so again, building for aggressive, as much damage as possible here. As we get, looks like Blade of the Ruin King on the way for Kanavi, so 2 damage items here on the Viego. The advanced plate can often be pretty common. Yeah, the double recur a bit much. Double click him how one, but not gonna be a problem here. Red gonna be claimed for an invade. Gumayushi and the rest of T1 ensuring the bottom jungle belongs to them.
And they want to keep up this dragon stacking. Zeus right now, no ultimate again, as it's ticking down with him pushing on top side. Moments before the Drake, if you can get a teleport from Gangplank early on and set up your barrels through some of these brush in the fog of war, that can lead to some big explosions. But they're actually valuing just walking Zeus down now.
Walking down the river, 12 seconds till it spawns. JDG are the ones who own the path down. Kanavi aggressively looks for any wards, doesn't see any. One gets put down, put out as well. Guma forcing a Shurelius out. 369 cannot find his target. Locked in place, needs to ult to stay alive, but he's feared and he's fallen. Nocturne goes for number 2. Hope dropped, a flash away from missing, but Faker won't, and he's unstoppable. 11-9. T1.
You can't touch Gumayushi. His confidence is insane right in front of 369. Baits him in. Faker's not done. He dodges the stun.
Really beautiful stuff right now. Gonna try to stack the Conqueror, try to find the kill. With help from his mid laner, Azonius buys some time, but they should kill him. The ult's too early. He needs some soldiers back. He finds the army, and 1,000 gold goes to Kanavi. However, Baron is dying.
T1 with an incredible team fight in the mid lane are able to usurp the team fighting powers of JDG. 369, the benefactor of all that early game gold, the big beefy frontline is shut down as T1 dance around him, dance around JDG, and secure themselves the first Baron of game 3.
I love this play from Gumayushi. He is so confident right now, playing in the face of these melee champions, baiting them in, daring them to try and touch him. Stays just out of arm's length there, and T1, well, can he get away from this though?
Yeah, still has cleanse and flash, was not even remotely close to dying. And Then when turret falls, T1, 1350 on the Red Bull Baron power play. Yes, they dropped the Cloud Drake, just means more can be killed. I know, it's a positive, honestly, as we crest into 2 and 3 items. Chainsword on the way now for the top laner.
Look at this. He dashes in with the ultimate to get some damage here, and then allowing 369 dash forward. He just kites him into the Nami. Keria gets the double knockup.
Yeah.
Ulti into bubble, right into T1's hands.
Keria playing these fights beautifully throughout this series. The chain CC, there was nothing that Renekton could do, and like this is just one of the problems with Renekton. He doesn't have easy access onto the backline unless he's finding a good flank. See the smiles on the T1 faces and the frustrations on the side of JDG. After losing that Baron, this game now becomes a lot harder to win as Gumayusi once again goes in.
Chunks hope to have tidal wave, builds a lot of time. Getting away from the fear, but Nocturne dives for more. Owner's gonna get one and stay alive. Gumayusi is at one hit. Yagao kills him. Owner could go for a bit more. Big damage out of Zeus, finds one. Owner, they go too far. He will jump 2 up, and he drops. In the top side, though, a solo kill, 369. Once again rolls the dice and takes down Faker, not even burning a flash.
Into the mid lane, he's looking for the collapse, 369.
Flash up in 5 seconds, could find a good target. Keria has nowhere to go, doesn't have his own flash, doesn't have a good way out. Shirelli has to get his target into range. I don't know if he can get the blast plant in time. Nicely done by missing. 369 finds the kill. JDG lose 2, but they kill 4.
That's right, 4 dead on the side of T1. I was not expecting the fight to turn that way. T1 felt like they had such firm control over the game. And then just like that, after a bit of aggression from Guma, JDG turned it around.
999, baby. He gets another solo bolo. Off screen, count it. Teleports in, gets another kill, trapping Keria here. And more money for JDG to mount their comeback. Remember that after the last team fight, JDG still got the dragon. They got that objective, so they also stalled T1's objective stacking here. Another bait attempted here from Gumayusi as they get the counter onto Kanavi, and is the ultimate commitment there from Nocturne. Meanwhile, here's our solo we're looking for.
Faker just trying to kite away from the Renekton, has the ultimate to try and escape, but the stun then comes through from 369 to mitigate that. Faker doesn't have flash available to get away, realizes he can't do anything in the 1v1, and then the TP from 369 catches T1 completely unawares. Zeus and Keria split apart because they realize that they can't come out ahead in this fight. The Shirelli from Missing to help close the gap, and you'll see Missing landing an auto attack on the blast pan to deliver the fish to the hungry crocodile.
And you can tell the bloodlust is getting to these players with the high pace of this action. Earlier, Owner with the tower dive on that Nocturne, with the rest of his team just a little bit too far away by the mid tower, goes down and sets up for that play.
Crossing the map, though. 369 and Kanavi, great. Scryer's bloom there by Faker. Spots going on. The rest of the team already took down the bottom jungle. They're taking down the bottom tier 2 turret as well. 4 men strong. They shove this one out. Mid lane outer turret drops, though, as well. And as Gangplank ult was required to clear out top lane, they're still going for more. Keep in mind, this is 4 pushing the bottom side. 2 turrets taken. JDG sent most of the team back to defend, but the inhibitor is already gone.
Really good response once again from T1. We complimented their ability to play through the side lanes in game 2. They're demonstrating it here in game 3.
Beautiful.
Kanavi, I'm not going to say that he baited out the ultimate, but that's what ended up happening. Doesn't get caught off guard.
Yeah.
T1 though in the brush. Kanavi
They're gonna
makes it.
find him. He doesn't get the ulti off. He just dies. He could have ulted. He just gets killed. And that is the jungler down. T1 with 40 seconds till this Drake comes up. About the same time they find the rest. 369 gonna take his fight against Faker. Will it be enough? Does he win round 2? He's ignited. He's ever frosted. And Faker with 5 held left wins the one-on-one.
The GOAT! Now he's got more enemies coming after him, though. He's going for the sneaky recall. Out of vision.
They know he's on the left-hand side. Missing. Will not spot him go into the brush. They see. You can see it. You can see it. It was in vision. They don't walk over to the wrong ward.
Faker with the Okie-doke, complete jukes right here. You can't see me.
That ward's just outside the bush above the 2 players. It actually didn't go in the bush, so they didn't see Faker, so the polymorph couldn't actually come down. Faker gets away on the skin of his teeth, and he walks away the victor.
This is why Faker is still on the lineup. With all of these young prodigies being built up by T1, he's still the GOAT. T1 will use that commitment topside as well to be able to pick up Dragon number 3.
One away from the soul. T1 have a 4,000 gold lead, a 2 Drake lead, an inhibitor lead, and a Faker lead here in game 3. They'll drop a scuttle. It's not nearly as important as having the best player of all time on your roster. JDG will walk the reward on the way over, and out goes Kanavi.
All right, now we have to turn our eyes towards this Baron, and now it's going to be a T1 collapse moving up through the river. Teleport is ready for Yagao, I believe.
But look at how T1 are just shepherding JDG into this half of the map. 369 and Kanavi are looking for a pick onto Faker, but he's going to respect it. They have the push in mid. Yagao's forced to go back and answer it. Now they're looking for Faker, though.
Gonna find the ulti onto him. This time he's got no escape tools. Azonius buys time. A huge barrel finds more. 1 for nothing, and it's time to possess the rise, but he's gonna drop too quickly. 369 does what he can. They find the second kill. Over the wall they go. Yagao wants owner, scoops him in, finds the kill. Safe so far, missing, gets shot down. Oh, fires, but Gumayushi takes down 2. Carrier left alone, and he's gonna be left to his own devices now. Guma has to retreat, does not have the health to play it out.
When the going gets tough, it's the bot lane of T1 that come up clutch. This bot lane cannot afford to be underestimated. And Gumayushi with a phenomenal Lucian performance. Carrier is just wasting their time, buying time for the T1 members to respawn. He will lose his life, but it does not matter. What was an incredible team fight for JDG. No, it's not going
the base
to.
is still being attacked. He can't kill him, but he's stopping the recalls. They are losing Nexus turrets right now. At least Kanavi respawns in time. They don't lose too much. He'll get most of the farm. But Guma knows he's safe up here.
They have how many TVs? They have both TVs up and available. They're just pinging it right now. The question mark pings are coming out from JDG. Is this something that you're trying to force? They're not going to force it right now.
Yeah, they are.
Yes, they are.
They're going to send everyone. 369 sees it, though. Takes a chunk. He's got Yagao nearby. Ulti's up in 15 seconds, and the no Baron's being attacked. But this isn't going to be enough. Not everyone got into the pit. Owner can obviously blast plant back in, but honestly, JDG weather the storm. Bot lane inhibitor respawning before too long. There are still super waves coming in. They can collect some of the farm, and 369 can always TP back.
What a clutch play there from JDG to actually pick Faker off, knowing he did not have the flash available this time around, could not delay as he did in the last time. And they get him, and they get enough of a health lead in that skirmish as well, so that T1, even with the AoE from the gangplank coming in, they still lose an extra person on the play. Wards being put right back up around that Baron. They know they can't let it out of their eyesight for a second.
Look at the goal difference between the
that's
carries.
quite clearly.
The smite will come through for Onat, making sure that T1 have control around this objective. But the AD carry difference is so stark right now. 4 items completed for Gumayushi, along with the Dirk. Means that he is, I mean, he was the carry last game. He's been a huge carry for T1 throughout this World Championship. And he is a massive threat that JDG need to find a way to shut down.
Faker almost at death cap as well, looking at inventories here. Could have a big power spike, and with inhibitor on bottom side, respawning fairly soon, they can still revert to split pushing with their global advantage.
The Baron is going to be started off by T1. Once again, JDG must answer the call. They must walk into...
They're doing without Guma. They're letting him show on the waves that they don't know it's dying so quickly, but Baron's going to drop here. Looking for the stun, not going to find it. Nocturne turns off the lights, and that's Baron claimed. Near the kill, it's an ult to safety for Kanavi. Cannot be in this fight. Oh, he's going to die. He's going to get shut down. The wall ward back into the jungle takes down the ADD jungler.
They're not done yet. Faker flashes in.
Gets the root, gets a bunch of damage. They turn back. He burns a stopwatch, and that's going to be him
Oh!
safe. The barrel hits too. 369 does what he can, but he's got no team. Burns the stopwatch, immunes the fear, but it's not going to matter. There's the ace. Zeus, it's a million gigantic barrels. Faker makes the shot call, gets him in and out of the pit, and T1 are going for the base.
T1 will wipe JDG off the map. What an incredible team fight, led by Gumayushi. The man has come up clutch once again. He shuts down the core carry of JDG, and they will shut down JDG in game 2.
Gumayushi may have died, but he kills a hell of a lot more. The Nexus turrets fall. Kanavi's left alone to watch. Once again, his kingdom fall to ruins. T1, 2-1.
This is the beautiful League of Legends. Watching this T1 team operate Guma Yushi, while the rest of the team does Baron, shows himself for just a second to give JDG a false sense of security, knowing that T1 don't have the 80 carry DPS on Baron, allowing the rest of the team to burn it down under cover of Nocturne ultimate. Guma also chunks down Kanabi so low that he goes into the jungle to heal off of Raptors, and then he still wraps around and finds him later. It is insane how much work each member of this T1 squad are putting in right now. And I'm just thinking of the T1 video that they put out yesterday where all the members are talking about it. And Zayu says his goal, you know, in his first year here, 18-year-old, is to put the T1 dynasty back where it belongs and Faker back on the throne.
I watched an interview that Ashley did with Zeus, and he says that when I was playing bad, Guma said, look at me, you can trust me, you can rely on me, I will carry you, don't worry about it. And even though Zeus was shut down in this game, he only had to look bot lane at the superstar to know that when the chips were down, he could come up clutch.
And still huge in the team fight. So beautifully done. T1 are on match point to head back to the World Championship Finals. We ready up for that match point. We're breaking down this game at the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, Freak, and welcome back to the Analyst Desk here at the State Farm Arena. Emily, she loves cross-map plays, so do we. We love beautiful League of Legends.
You don't understand. T1 have improved so much.
Well, we're gonna talk about that. We're going to talk about that a little bit as T1 puts the series on series point, now up 2-1. We dive back into the draft because the teams had swap sides scheduled. We had a lot of questions about what would be the changing factors. Bot lanes stay the same, even on opposite sides of the map, so we're looking only in those top triangles for the changes.
Yeah, I think what we expected to come through did, and that was T1 have 4 champions to ban away, right? And they just drew the short throw and said, we'll just give over Viego, right? It was a really struggle point in game 1, but they feel confident enough to match it. And I think the way they matched it was mid-push, because they early rotate the Ryze again on 3 before it can get banned away. This Ryze is a huge pick right now in this series. It's getting the push into the Azir. It's winning side lanes. It lost to the Reddington this time around, but when he mismatched, it looked really good. And then you saw him pull off all these plays where he was just disappearing.
Yeah. As Emily pointed out, the map plays by the Ryze. For JDG, they went more kind of standard team fight with just like the Renekton blind as on blue side here. And it worked out pretty well, I would say. 369 looked absolutely incredible this game. And when you look at the early game that happened here, it was almost all for JDG about him in the top lane.
The big thing for me also is since they have just kind of handshake on these bot lanes, you do have Guma Yushi popping up later. Right now, we're just going to see a top lane reel because, let's be real, this is what everyone came to see, right? It was the 369 Zeus, and Zeus got put down very far behind, which is why it is actually important that bot lane popped off so much.
Mark, I'm just glad the teams have proven us right in making this the Mercedes-Benz feature matchup of the day. This top lane, I mean, it was nonstop action.
Yeah, we talk about being a battle for the best top laner in the world. I think 369 is making a very good case, though his team is currently down in the series. He was able to find solo kills on Zeus, found solo kills on Faker, later was dominating in this top side and the 1 point of pressure for them on the map.
Yeah, you can't really fault JDG or 369 for this game. They play heavy through top side. Owners forced to cover on a champion like Nocturne, which struggles pre-6, but they have to cover it and fight back because the waves will always be in states that are either bouncing or diveable stacking into Zeus. So they try to fight back. They lose as expected in early stages, but if they weren't doing this and Owner was power farming, Zeus would be 0-4, 0-5, right? So he has to cover him somehow. This was huge. If Zeus died here, lost this wave, I think top was over. But the fact that he gets this kill onto Kanabi, gets a shutdown, and gets the wave, that's what brings him back into it. But 369 kept his lead and kept shutting us down. But it was T1's mid and bot that really carried the weight of this game.
Yeah, and I think the big thing, again, for me is there was a bot side gank for Nocturne at like 8:14 in the game, and that is really what just ended up deciding that bot lane, right? So from that point on, I think this Lucian Nami were just so powerful, and then we continued to see those super important moments from Guma Yushi, baiting out fights, just soaking up just as much pressure kind of as what they were doing topside. And that ended up making such a massive difference, in addition to the Ryze you pointed out, because we talked about Owner and Nocturne, and you know, somewhat if you're looking at this draft, you're like, okay, who is Nocturne's like dive buddy, right? Yeah. But the global pressure they were able to have with these two picks, the fact that Faker was always fainting whenever Nocturne did have to go top, Faker was fainting top, made sure that they covered it, and it was just absolutely huge in this game.
And you can see the top laners there on your screen in the Mercedes-Benz featured matchup as 369 was getting the better hand of Zeus. But I love that point you just brought up, Emily, about the globals. And T1 are focusing so heavily on these globals through mid, right? The Galio in the first game didn't work out, but the Rise ult can be used in so many ways to get tempo on lanes. When you Rise ult from mid to bot, when you have Nash, Rise ult from mid to bot if you want to kind of counter gank or set up the gank, which is what Faker did to turn that bot fight around to get the double kill in the early stages. And I think the beauty of the Nocturne was you finish Nash when you Rise ult there first, and then you Nocturne ult to make sure they can't get into the steal. So you always have these quick, snappy Barons that JDG always have to be conscious about.
So while the draft has rightfully been warping kind of around the top side of the map, Mark, I think this is now where we finally talk about that handshake bot lane, because Gumayushi has been putting up insane numbers.
That's a bad handshake. That's when you go for a handshake and the other team crushes it with their handshake. The Lucian Nami has been dumpstering this side of the matchup. You see in the mid to late game as well. Guma plays this so aggressive. He puts so much pressure on the enemy team that he actually does die often in a number of these team fights, but it's after he's pumped out so much damage because the enemy team has to react to him. You saw there, the fact that they just couldn't get on top of him gets them Baron in basically this game.
And if I had to think about why JDG are continuing to go for this matchup, right, it's like, okay, well, in these late game 5v5 situations, we're going to still have a pretty strong Aphelios in fights. But the big thing is that, for the most part, T1 have not been giving them that because they've been using their globals to split the map.
And that's the beauty. Not only is it the Rise Nocturne we touch upon, but it's also the GP ult. And I think that's so pivotal with the immobile carries, where it comes to these team fights that you're talking about. But T1 can always pull the trigger first because Lucian Nami can dash in. Double global on top of you with Nocturne and GP. Rise ulting around the side. It's so hard to contest mid waves. It's so hard to set up objectives. And that man on your screen right now with the Lucian Nami is having a fantastic series.
Yeah, I mean, across the series, averaging up 20 CS at 15 is pretty amazing. So we'll see if JDG has an answer to that in game number 4. I just want to call out, there have been 104 minutes played in this series so far across 3 games. Any idea how many kills there have been?
103.
4. You saw the stat earlier.
Really? I just went one below on your stat.
Really?
Yeah, no, I just guessed it.
Oh my god, that's correct.
I just went one lower than
It was in the prompter. I saw it. I'll out you to everyone
That's
in here.
incredible.
I'll just let you know I didn't answer because I did see it in the prompter.
Thank you very much for being respectful.
Just say it in the
103 kills across 104 minutes. That is an astronomical combined.
Minutes.
Yeah, when it comes to combined kills per minute, it is very rare to even get close to 1 per minute, and we are just about there. We'll see if we can get there in game number 4. Backs against the wall now for JDG. They got to get it done here in game number 4 to push us all the way to 5. The fate of the LPL rests squarely on the shoulders of JDG. We'll see if they can tie the series up and stay alive in game 4 right after this.
But he's waiting out, Spills of nothing. The flash in, Zeus the flash follow. It's a 1-for-1, but can Renekton win against Nocturne? The big stun, and 369. Forcing a Shirelia's out, 369 cannot find his target. Locked in place, needs to ult to stay alive, but he's feared, and he's fallen. Nocturne goes for number 2. Hope dropped, a flash away from missing, but Faker won't, and he's unstoppable. About the same time they find the rest. 369 going to take his fight against Faker. Will it be enough? Does he win round 2? He's ignited. He's ever frosted. And Faker with 5 held left wins the one-on-one.
Upgrade your shimmery slippers to keep sparkling.
Hey, Ash, what's your plan?
A new and very serious game, Jake from State Farm. But these in-game purchases are wrecking my wallet. I can't keep sparkling, Jake. I need a sparkle.
State Farm has options like combining home and auto, so you get a rate that fits your budget.
Very nice. The gameplay is really strategic, I swear.
For surprisingly great rates that fit any budget, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or click to get a quote today.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Welcome back to the State Farm Arena. T1 are a game away from making their first World Final in 5 years. The Faker era, the T1 era ended in 2017 when the man made 4 World Finals, winning 3 of them in a 5-year streak. We come 5 years later, he's went pretty far, but the finals he has not reached in a very long time, and he's about to do it again.
Yeah, last year, with a lot of the players that we see on stage right now, it was the semifinals. That was the barrier that they could not cross against Dom1. However, today, with the addition of Zeus, with the dominant year that they've had, it feels like that they've reached a point where they're ready to return to the pedestal, the pinnacle of League of Legends. Now, JDG, they're a team you can't afford to underestimate. They've been put in this position many times before, and we know that they are resilient. Let's see what they can bring out against the powerhouse that is T1, this best of 5.
Exactly. You cannot underestimate this team. Both the ability to come back in-game, in team fights, and also in series.
There it is.
In the LPL, semifinals and finals, full 5-game series for them, made them work for it. Now Faker's getting the honor here of the target ban. JDG, they've got too many target bans to deal with. There's so many threats on T1. It is magnificent though. I think back to this Reddit thread where people were talking, you know what, Faker deserves more than a skin. He deserves a champ in the game. He already has one. It's Rise.
I agree on that one. Is it Graves? Yes, it is. So I like this from JDG. Says, look, there is a tournament meta. On the patch, we believe we know the strongest champion, but T1 are winning on things we are not willing to pick ourselves. Sejuani, we can trade back and forth. Viego, we can trade back and forth. But Lucian and Rise in T1's hands, not allowed.
Really, really good Viego steal away, because when JDG picks Sejuani, it is almost always going into 369's hands. Kanavi only has 1 career game on Sejuani. They want to pair the Sejuani top lane with a carry jungler. So stealing away the Viego pushes Kanavi down to the Spellveth, and it's going to put more emphasis on how he can play that early game. Sejuani, of course, does so well when matched with melee carries to proc that stun so quickly. And no hesitation here, instantly lock in.
The Karma blind from JDG. Of course, this does have room to be flexed between both mid and support. We'll see what direction JDG choose to go with it. Somewhat ironic that it was that Karma from many years ago in Faker's hands. Regardless, the Varus locked in for Gumayushi. Another big comfort pick for him, something that gives him a lot of agency in the bot lane. Often they will pair it alongside the Tahm Kench for carrier, and we saw how dominant they could be as they demonstrated when they played up against RNG in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, I think the focus on bottom lane and getting a powerful bottom lane for JDG is necessary because, let's be honest, T1 have completely bot diffed this series thus far.
So
when you pick Karma this early, what you get is a flex pick that can either guarantee a pushing heavy poke bottom lane for you, or even allow Yagao to take it into mid lane if they really want to pull some crazy stuff here and do a bottom lane counter pick later. Karma always pairs well with double poke lanes like Ezreal, so let's take a look here. They're still banning Yagao.
Yep. And banding a good safety choice here out of Gumayushi as well. No Tahm Kench from there is a very common pick. Obviously Karma, a small takeaway for that lane as well. It's just so much lane dominance, you really can't be out-pushed. We'll see if Heimer ends up making its debut on this one, but a ways to go until we see that. Second bans to come through. No Ashe, looking again at lane dominant. It means that Ezreal is available, though not a huge favorite.
Crazy, interesting test now we're putting too. T1 have done this multiple times where on this third pick, they pick a mid lane and then ban to protect it. Yagao has always countered with the Taliyah. They're saying, hey, you're not going to pick the Akali, the kill counter into Azir. That is very normal. I want to see if that is actually true. If he goes onto the Sylas again.
Renata is a very good answer here from T1. Very safe. So far, their draft, I would say, is just very safe. there's very few holes in what they've got. They've got a lot of long range at their disposal. They have solid engage thanks to the Varus. They have good disengage or follow-up with the Renata ultimate when combined with Varus. They have a lot of skill expression and pick. Like, it just depends on how they round out their composition. Do they want more engage? Do they want side lane threats? There's a lot of flexibility here for T1.
Yeah, T1 are showing really good counter engage right now. As you mentioned, Renata ult's so good when the team is charging into you. That Sejuani, that Bel'Veth on the front lines. Locking it up here with the Jhin for bottom lane. There's that Sylas we were talking about, because Yagao has not shown the preference for the Akali answer into his ear. Almost always, this Sylas, he goes right back to it.
The couple cheeky hovers there. Carrier playing with the fans' hearts. What direction will they go in? We expect Zeus to have a deep champion pool, and he will lock in his Gragas. A long time comfort for Zeus. He's been playing it ever since he first joined the LCK, even in some of his debut appearances. And into a tank matchup, it's something that he can feel very confident and safe in. Again, offers more disengage when complemented well with both the Renata and the Azir, along with adding to the pick options that they have, thanks to the flexibility of the Gragas ultimate.
Yep, completely agree. And I love it specifically into Kanavi Bel'Veth. When you're playing against JDG, you're always looking to answer Kanavi. He's the focus, and multiple forms of interrupt are so powerful versus champion. You need to have something to interrupt the E from this champion. If you can get rid of that damage reduction, it does not operate anymore in team fights. And Gragas bringing multiple interrupts, I think is a really good answer. Even though you're used to seeing Zeus, we want him on this big carry pick. What's he gonna do this time around into the tank top lane? Love this pick because multiple forms of CC.
Now time ticks down. This could be the last time these two coaches shake hands. Bengi on stage with T1, with Faker for every one of those World Championship victories. Maybe on his way to his own fourth in a new role as head coach. Spent a split playing in the LPL, came back to T1 of the coaching staff. Has done so well with this team. Is this the last time these teams meet? The first and last time these two orgs go head to head. JDG, the last hope of the LPL. For 4 years in a row, the LPL made the World Finals. A different team each time. JDG, the most unlikely of candidates. 369 cut from top esports. Hope and Missing cut from their relative teams as well. JDG signed them, win the summer split, and now the last hope of their country. Need to win 2 in a row.
Let's see if they can usurp T1. Right now leading the series. They're looking to get early information on the bot side of the map, making sure that the bot lane 2 versus 2 has a little bit more control. We've been seeing Kuma and Carrier be hyper-aggressive in the bot lane 2 versus 2, sometimes to a fault, where they have been killed in the 2 versus 2 by Hope and Missing. What I think is scary about this Jhin and Karma lane is it does have a lot of power in its straight-up 2v2 with the amount of poke and damage, especially with that 4th shot from the Jhin.
Yeah, what you get when you invest in this lane for JDG is way, way, way more safety for your bottom lane. It's double poke, as you mentioned. It's also, Jhin is one of the AD carries that can start with Boots Potion. Very rare. So much more sustain with the extra potion down there for him in case he gets the worst of the trades, because let's be honest, what we've seen in this series is the T1 bottom lane that was promised. They were prophesized, they were talked up as being the best bottom lane in the world, and they only lost that title due to some underperformances in summer, but it's really nice on the world stage to see Gumayushi and Carrier truly living up to some of that hype.
And it really has been in the team fights where we've been seeing Guma really step up alongside Carrier, of course. You don't want to take anything away from the support of T1. The fact that he went deathless for so long in both Game 1 and Game 2, his Nami was phenomenal. Now we'll finally get to see him on something a little bit different alongside Guma. Let's see how much of an impact they can have in this game, as they are getting pushed in at these early levels, kind of as we expected in the 2v2 matchup.
Yeah, and we've seen him already with some, I would say, game-winning Renata ultimates in this tournament. See if he can... Oh, damn, the double poke.
Cleanse Ignite versus Cleanse Ignite. That means there is no heal. There's no way to get your health back up. You can drop the dot, but the first take of Ignite will still land. Summoner spell-wise, arguably Ignite counters Cleanse.
And throughout the series, we have been seeing...
Flash, handshake back, trying to burn him down, and he will drop the T1 bottom lane. Continues to dominate. Carrier, that was magnificent
seconds. Are you kidding? The handshake right on missing as he flashes. Holy moly, predicted, outplayed, annihilated. This T1 bottom lane, the one that was promised, absolutely insane.
I mean, that I feel caught everyone off guard. Carrier played that so well.
For sure, Mythic was caught off guard.
Just as we were singing his praises, he's able to find a play like that. The burst damage was ridiculous. So let's have a look back and see how he does it. Flash, handshake, root. It's just clean, isn't it? No bit of damage was missed. Really understanding the limits of his champion. You give him a champion that has a little bit more agency than an army, and he does stuff like that. You can see why Carrier is so respected worldwide.
Finds a knock, got decent damage. Another turret's be a bit much, takes a shot, but it does put damage in toward Faker. Kanavi always happy to share a bit of XP with a laner. Total experience for your team does go up that way, but it will slightly delay Yagao's road to 6.
Yeah, man. Carrier flashing in for the point blank handshake, just knowing there's not going to be a response and a return visit now. Owner is down here. Carrier moves in again.
Hope has cleanse, Hope has flash. Carrier going to hold on to it. There we go, gets away from both skill shots at once. Not going to find the poke back either.
The awkward thing for JDG's bot lane now is their wave is in a terrible state and their jungler is nowhere near to offer support. T1 know that Kanavi is top as well, and the fact that JDG's bot lane can't get control of the river, Missing has to contest this bush to make sure that the jungler has gone back to base. Now they can actually walk up and contest the wave. That could have been a lot worse for the bot lane of JDG.
Playing towards the top side has not worked thus far for JDG. Let's see if it does this time around as Owner comes over to cover Zeus on this big cannon wave that's coming into him.
It's a big farm lead for 369, but you're right, only in the Jax game did the top priority turn into a win. And Sejuani, not exactly a carry, though really good damage out of Yagao. 100 health left on the Faker, able to eat back in. Owner now spotted on the Viego. Is Yagao going to be really in danger? Gets away from the stun, but it does mean he's got to drop away from this wave for a bit.
Yeah, he's going to chase him off. Yagao had already teleported back, so Faker actually, even though his wave is pushing, he can teleport right back to this lane. That's why Owner's not hard shoving instantly. Looks like he is going to walk it in there anyways, but Yagao already using his teleport means the extra damage there from Owner is going to stick, and it should allow Faker to continue trying to abuse the ranged matchup here, pushing in on Yagao, poking him under tower as he tries to pick up things.
We didn't talk about it, but this is actually Faker's first Azir game at Worlds. Of course, the man is very familiar with Azir. If JDG can find a pick on it. Nice sidestep from Faker.
Oh, guesses that Faker will juke left, but Faker holds the course. Gets away from the stun. Yagao chunked down to 300.
He is sidestepping everything. How can you pin down a T1 member when they don't even flash? They have the confidence to juke every skill shot you throw at them.
Beautiful play there from Faker. He's used to the pressure from Kanavi at this point, and with the push that they have in bot lane and the fact that Kanavi coming mid just allows Yagao to go back to base means that there's a very easy opportunity to secure this first dragon. Very well played from T1 in the early game, starting to build a small gold lead.
I mean, honestly, I would be demoralized going for ganks on this guy and having him just completely juke it out. He holds onto his flash both times. When Silas has him so low under tower, Faker confidence, doesn't burn his flash. He walks it out, walks away with 75 HP, continuing to hold on to these cooldowns, and now he's level 6 too, so even has the ultimate to disengage. Let's refocus though. Kanavi on his Bel'Veth pick. Going to go for the invade on red buff here, take it away from Owner as his recall goes off from the bottom lane. So Kanavi will continue with this little lead that he has gotten. Very minute, but is there.
I do want to point out that Faker has rushed himself Oblivion Orb in the lane. Keep in mind that what he's against is the Dorn Shield and Second Wind. One thing that, for those who've been... Hold on, we got to play the bottom side. The flash away from the handshake. Carrier does not have flash. They're going to guarantee the kill. And Hope is going to claim one. You can see the game now back within a 200 gold spread.
That's a 3-6-9 gang. He's saying, you know what, last game, I got a lead, I wasn't able to impact the rest of the map. This time he's saying, I'm level 6, I'm ganking bot, boys. They moved the Silas up to top lane so that he can now rotate over to mid. Kanavi is now here as well. I don't expect him to get the kill onto Faker, but great map movement there from JDG. That caught T1's bot lane completely off guard.
Exactly, Vedius. It's the rotation of mid lane up to top to get the pressure there. Top lane down to go for the gank, and then jungle comes in so they don't lose out on any minion waves while still allowing 3-6-9 to try and 1v9 again. He's like, there's a fire on bottom side. I want to go clean it up.
good ward there. Really good control ward. Ona was suspicious of JDG hovering in that topside river, but they will spot it out and no fight will ensue.
Pretty important thing that pro junglers do on the Viego is the view range of their sweeper is larger than the view range of someone else seeing you while camouflage. Yeah, we had the vision difference anyway, and it's like, yep, can't see me. All right, someone's there. Cool. Ward, walk out. No danger here. We've now got the Herald play available. It's 8 minutes in. Both teams trying to fight for it. The patience runs out. No one's killing it yet.
So the objective is slow to secure, which gives time for JDG to push out top and mid wave. Meanwhile, T1 are buying time for Guma to join the rest of the squad. He will now arrive with his ultimate available. Looking at the supports as well. Curious as to how close they are to level 6, because that really could be the difference maker in the fight, as we see both teams once again contesting over this mid wave.
5 flashes up for T1. Missing both from the bottom lane. And of course, he's going to bring one his side, but he's got his ulti up. Cleanse ability for Guma means there's only so many good targets. His Herald's being attacked. T1, will they find their way in? Barrel spots a ward, and they're going to knock that down with a trinket themselves. Stolen Cask is only a disengage. Ultimately, JDG do not find their way onto the Herald yet.
Yeah, they're going to restart it, try and pull them back in. Owner still lurking around with the camouflage on.
So the awkward thing for JDG right now is there is a big wave stacking up in the bot lane that is just bleeding away minions. The engage.
Gonna find the root. The ulti from Varus doesn't get too much more. The re-engage looks pretty good. Yagao flashes in for a bit of damage. Ulti stun's gonna land. Can they kill Owner? He dives in, and the Berserk comes across. Kanavi is low, gets the out, and he goes 1 for 1. Looking for a bit more now. Yagao is in the front line. Already though, Sejuani is dead. Faker flashes, Ignite kills him, and Hope is safe in the wings, but the CC is too good. Yagao will die, delivers himself to death. 4th shot, not quite the kill. Karma can't get it either. Sidestepping the last shot just barely. Gumayushi still safe. Gumayushi still firing. Slowed down, but without mana cannot secure a kill.
Wow, what a crazy fight. Every single member walking away on such low health bars, but Guma continues to be clean, sidestepping everything, but T1 walk away the victors of the fight as JDG secure themselves the Herald.
I love it because even though the kills were close, we burn away all the flashes. Look at this. Flash initiation for Guma, but Hope has cleansed. So he just cleanses and walks out. Then they go for the turnaround off of the knockup onto Guma. They're trying to get back to this flashless carry, but they get the Sejuani ultimate here onto Owner. He ults back in towards this Rift Herald as 369 picks it up and walks out. Bailout allows them to continue the fight, but he's so tanky and trying to move it through. Faker in the back line. Flashes away, still has the Ignite on him though, so burns down anyway. It's just the other side of the fight was fluffed so much, and Yagao gives this one over. Guma now, no mana after this arrow, but he's got auto attacks to push them off, and the flash from Hope also being burned like a matador, dodging that Gragas.
Zeus lived because his passive popped on body slam. He was dead the 4th shot. Somehow Hope was like, this might not kill. I gotta flash the body slam that could have landed on me. Somehow was right about that one. He lived with a sliver of health.
The thing that got me about that fight was in the replay seeing Faker just glide into the backline and he just looked at the AD carry and both ultimates were just in this really awkward position. But at the end of the day, T1 walk away as the victors of the fight. And again, huge credit to Gumayushi, been involved in every single kill alongside his support. That's another dragon secured for T1. Similar to last game, we find themselves with control over these early objectives. But how can JDG now use this early Herald to gain an advantage over T1?
Well, right now it's 3 plates left on the top side. 369 was given the gold in the previous game on Renekton. Now on Sejuani, still again not a carry champion. Love to see him get it somewhere else, but I guess it'll be shared by Kanavi. 369 is going to take his share of the gold. Sees Velvet can be a big enough carry. Certainly 369 is up in farm, but will that matter enough?
Yeah, we're seeing it again and again. JDG trying to have Kanavi and 369 carry these games because T1's bottom lane is just relentless. Again, this Rift Herald used on top side does get a pretty high value secondary charge, but bottom lane is kind of
Flash stun. Varus can't land it himself though, forcing the flash that are missing. He will stay alive, trading flashes with the opposing jungler. But with the wave thinning out, they're not going to get much more of this damage. The plate itself will not drop. Hope wants his 4th shot, can't quite get it. There we go, Guma takes the trade. And with Varus ulti on, there's a chance they find that kill. They gotta block the shots, they will do so. The shields come out as well from the support. Get away from the deadly flourish.
Well played by T1 to get away unscathed, but you can see the biggest difference between this game and the last two. There's no Faker. Faker on the rise, roaming to bot lane to create this 4-man stack dive, made it so much harder for Hope and Missing to weather the storm. But in a 3 versus 2, with the Karma, with the additional shields and mobility that they have, it's that much safer compared to what we saw before, which means that they hold on to their tower, and JDG have now accrued an ever so slight gold advantage while not having the AD carry be put behind in the same way.
Yeah, this is a much different style of comp from T1 this time around. Tank on the top side for Zeus, scaling, teamfight carry mage for Faker this time around. A lot less roaming, less of those chaotic, scrappy plays, building up for a little bit more of the front to back. But we've already seen crazy things like Guma flashing forward to go for the Varus initiations as well.
And it's only a 200 gold lead between the two AD carries. You have to feel bad for Missing, trying his best to get level 6, now does have it, but has been losing out a lot on XP. His owner now getting bullied out by 369. I don't expect much more to come off the back of this. We kind of turn our attention to objectives as an ultimate comes down.
Catches them both, has to cleanse, still 4 shots his teammate, has to get away from Varus ulti, and Missing will die. Round 2 isn't good enough, he's running into the tower. Guma gets the shot, and T1 get a double kill.
This T1 bottom lane don't miss. Hiding the ultimate over the wall, Carrier zones them off, and then they still walk right back into it, T1. Obliterating this bottom lane.
It's just too clean from the T1 bot lane. Absolute destruction in the isolated 2v2. They will secure another tower, and all of a sudden, 369 in the mid lane.
Gonna find the stun, a whole lot of damage, a shuffle, buys a second, the shield survives a bit longer, but 369 still drops, and Viego is ready to claim a couple of corpses. It's not gonna come through for Yagao. Ignite will not kill Zeus, and T1 are winning everywhere.
Faker is just so good. The fact that he could get that ultimate out at the last second to set up for Ona and Zeus to turn it around. T1 find 3 kills, and they will hold on to the gold lead.
Faker always looking for the turnaround play. He does not panic and try and ult them away from him. With his dying breath, ults them into the tower, tells the rest of the members of T1, you've got this, you can pick up the kills. I will die for this. Here it is. Carrier around with the control ward you see up in the river, able to get the ultimate off right over the wall here. And then Hope walking right there, does have to cleanse it as well, and they go from Missing first. Full confidence with the fully stacked lethal tempo and the passive from Varus. Insane attack speed from him, blows him up.
And the tower management was so good as well. Look, so much thrown onto Faker, the chain CC, but he gets that ultimate off just underneath the tower, and he buys a little bit of time, but we're back into the action.
You try the 5-on-5 now for the Rift Herald. You got a full item and a half here on the Gumayushi. Gonna feel comfortable on this Varus, the team fight it out. Gale Force moves to the side. Patience about to run out. They can get the last shot and try for it. 1200 HP. The spike comes through clean on the JDG side. It is engaged for T1, but will it be enough? Yagao lower and lower and lower. The snipe from Gumayushi claims the kill. And he's gonna get more thanks to Owner. He plays the mid laner better than Yagao does. Bolts in for a bit more, forcing out the flash. But Faker does not care. Only one man is left alive.
T1 do it again, and Faker's not done. No second wasted. Teleports to the bottom lane to immediately take 4 from JDG.
Unbelievable team fight from T1. The start of the fight looked promising for JDG, but this early game is snowballing out of control, and it is off the back of this bot lane and the man in the mid lane, Faker, as he looks to return to the World Finals once more.
It is beautiful to see the 2 generations of League gods on T1 play together. Look at this. They don't get the smite, but Faker does so much damage here with the Azir moving forward, and Owner goes for the reset. Guma firing off the snipe, nails the first kill for him, so then Owner gets that body, jumps forward, picks up the Silas, and chases down the rest of them. Faker goes with the short route on the inside, flashes over into the wolves for the angle.
Beautiful play from Faker. And while he has not played Azir at Worlds yet, you can see that he is still a master at the champion. The cheers from Zeus as the ulti comes through.
Another 369 finds death number 4, but the re-engage from Belvet is almost enough, but it is not. Faker in the mid lane, the unkillable
JDG are completely aced 18 minutes into the game. T1 are playing with nothing but confidence as they rip apart the last hope of the LPL.
Faker's never been eliminated by an LPL team, and he sure as hell is not going to start today.
What an incredible performance. T1 seem to have only gotten better and better from game to game. JDG have put up a strong fight, but here in Game 4, it is nothing but the T1 show. And we have to give so much credit. We sing the praises of Faker, we sing the praises of Gumayushi, but Carrier's ultimates have been unbelievable in these team fights, hitting 3, 4, 5 members consistently. And the plays that he has been making in the 2 versus 2, he's been involved in 15 of the 18 kills.
Absolute beast for sure. Here's a look at the engage, and Zeus immediately they go straight for frontline. They knock back the Sejuani, and because of the comp this time around, it's easy for them to finish that out. Faker then goes around the back. Nobody's getting out of here.
It's like Faker from the back, Gumayushi from the left, Owner from the front. They're being flanked when they just shouldn't be. The focus on his face. He knows that this game is his.
Gonna find an engagement in the tower. Owner, though, able to get away with his ulti, staying alive, still has the flash. Good damage to the front side, though. They could kill Zeus. They could go for more. Here comes the Berserk, and even JDG is gonna kill JDG. The T1 reinforcements arrive, and it's a 4-0.
They can't even kill off the Grog as he was so low under tower. Almost goes down, heals off his passive, then gets the bailout from Carrier. My goodness, this T1 team, they are marching straight towards finals.
I respect the resilience of JDG. They are doing everything in their power to come back into this game, but T1 are just too strong. They will secure a Baron on spawn, and they're looking to make their way back to the World Finals.
Here's a look at the attempt this time. They try and burst on Owner. He ultimates away. They kite through, and then they turn their sights. Next closest target. Burn down the Gragas. Let's get slow, low. But Carrier, with the ult flash over the wall, hits them with the backline, comes in, and Guma can find the snipe, set up with his ultimate as well. Cleaning house, even getting the bailout for Zeus.
This team is just so good. What an ultimate once again from Carrier. And JDG know there's little that they can do to turn this game around.
You had the perfect setup, Thaddeus. You were talking about it. There's a reason this kid from the very beginning, support prodigy, got Rookie of the Year and was such a highly prized pickup for T1. But Guma,
the bailout will buy a second. Have to find a kill. They should still knock him down, but it was close. Hope down a point on HP himself.
He almost makes it 2. That will be his first death of the game, but still, 19 KDA here in Game 4. This bot lane continues to be incredible. And T1 still in firm control. This will buy JDG a little bit of time, but not that much. If we draw our attentions to the bot lane, we can see Faker pushing in this wave, securing another tower for T1. The next Dragon spawns in about 1 minute and 40, and T1 are going to want to do as much damage as they can.
369 putting out the TES flare. A few years ago, made it to the World Semifinals, lost to Suning in the first Worlds in the last 4 years that the LCK actually won. That was Dom won. And now at the same spot he was, semifinals, but staring down the barrel of T1 closing out the series.
yeah, he got a lot of flack because of that TES team and dropping out, but had such a big resurgence this year. Let's see if they can pull it off. They teleport flank. He is behind Faker and the rest of JDG in front.
Slow but not a route. 1 through for the Karma, but not going to be enough. Shuffling back in. Kanavi taking for a bit. It's a 1-for-1. Faker drops, but Owner is now on Velvet. Owner is going to find another kill and going for a whole lot more. Yagao stuck in place. Stolen Dragon's ulti not going to matter. And Zeus is here to chase down Karma. 369 drops. Missing drops. And T1 once again bathes Summoner's Rift in the blood of their enemies. 29-7. You wanted more than 1 kill a minute? Just T1 have that mark. as they go for the top lane.
Ace after ace after ace. T1 is unstoppable. There is nothing that can stand in their way and return to the pedestal with which they made their name. T1 is looking to cement themselves even further as the legend among legends.
A League of Legends movie in the making. All right, here's the attempt on Faker's life, though, from JDG. They never give up. They always are trying to pick off somebody, and they, in the end, trade 1-for-1. They get the kill, but guess what? T1 are too far ahead, and Owner getting these resets. As soon as the rest of the team gets here, they're so outmatched in items. It's just a bloodbath. Owner making this champ look broken again. Ulting to catch him out. No one left alive as they was able to chase down the Karma as well.
And you can see the idea from JDG, which is we have to find a pick, we have to find something. We're too far behind. We need shutdown gold. We need anything that can buy us time to get back into this game. But every single time, it is T1 not allowing them that window as T1 once again look for a pick.
Not gonna find it just yet, but this time, it might be to close the game out. T1 came into the series. They had only won one game slower than 30 minutes. They were stomping hard and fast, and now 24 minutes in, just about closing the loop here, trying to find the backline access. Kanavi cannot get in. Gragas only sends them back out. JDG, a brief respite, but only for a moment as Faker takes down Yagao. Gumayushi secures the kill, but it was still the doing of the mid laner, the greatest of all time. 10 years in his career, 5 years since Ruler kicked him out in the finals. And tomorrow we may see him rematch that man for his 4th title. The Nexus turrets fall. T1 back to the finals for the first time in 5 years. And a team full of homegrown, home-scouted talent. And a stomping game 4 over JDG.
What an arc for this T1 team as well. Gaining power in their ascent towards the finals. Every member performing, every member stepping up.
The expectations coming into this series was that it would be the battle of top lane gods, 369 versus Zeus. But it really all became about the bot lane 2 versus 2. Gumayushi in these fights and carry alongside him continue to dominate. An unbelievable performance from T1. This team fell short in the finals of LCK Summer, and there were question marks around them. But here at the World Championship, they have done nothing but gain momentum, improve, and dominate on the world stage.
You can't attack any area of T1. Faker dodging skill shots, not even blowing his flash with relentless pressure sent towards the mid lane. And if you send pressure there, guess what? Guma and Keria know you're alone in a 2v2, and they like those odds, smashing you themselves. Absolutely insane stuff from this team all series long. Props to JDG, a valiant effort here, but they were simply outmatched.
Beautifully done here by T1, another world semifinal for 369. Kanavi back from quarters from last year. Yagao back from quarters, from a couple of years ago, back when they were still on JDG. The new faces come in, they make semis. Not a bad road for the team, but it does end at the hands of Faker and the rest of his young gun teammates, everyone on that team, 19, 20 years old. And I think you said it earlier, the new generation of talent, the new generation of legends. You have Faker, a 10-year-long career with 3 trophies to his name, looking for number 4 now with head coach Bangi, that he did it alongside. But a bunch of players, 3 of them scouted by T1 themselves. Keria grabbed just a year after his rookie year, and they're here to dominate again.
It's just, it's crazy to see the trajectory and investment from T1 after what they had was a super team back in 2019 that couldn't quite make it to then going back to the drawing board and reinvesting in young talent. Like you've talked about it so much. These players are 18, 19, like all around the veteran and Faker. the fact that they've been able to grow so much in such a short amount of time, 5 games against RNG in the MSI finals, and the undefeated run in the LCK in spring, falling short to Gen.G in summer, but now they make their way back to the World Finals, and they'll be going up against an LCK Riot.
There was debate in the offseason. Who are they going to fill with this top lane? Are they going to sign one of these prized, already proven top laners? Nope, nope, nope. They trust in their system. They build them up, and combined with Faker, the icon that is League of Legends, you get the recipe for success.
I will say, eulogizing JDG, 369 should be proud of how well he played. I thought he was incredible in every single game he played. I'm sorry you lost, but you were amazing. The jungle, Kanavi, he's been with JDG his entire career as well. Started as a loan off from Griffin, but every game he has played has been under the JDG banner. Again, amazing the entire time in this series. But as a team, everyone saw this series. T1 is the better team.
They certainly were. And yeah, okay, we saw some blunders from Guma in the laning phase here and there, but he almost immediately made up for them. His Lucian performances, the Varus and Renata bot lane, like, it just goes to show that when you give carrier something that has a little bit more agency than just a bubble, this man just rips through the rift. And I'm hoping that we get to see even more from him and what he's capable of as a support. Just, you summed it up. When you sit there and you look like Owner is their quote-unquote weakest part, it's all relative, right? It's one of those things where even though he's the weakest part, it feels like that this team just has no real weaknesses that you can look to exploit.
And with that, the LCK cement their dominance over 2022. This means 3 LCK teams left in the bracket. We see Gen.G versus DRX tomorrow to figure out who will match T1 in the finals. You hinted at it, Freak. There could be a rematch with Ruler. So many storylines. Depth. The Last Dance, really this fairy tale success for DRX, making their march, their small percentage chance charge for that aim as well.
And it's fun to see because Gumayushi was so good in this series. He's had ups and downs, of course, but I'm pretty sure in all 4 games he was the most damage dealt across the game, even in the loss. Just 4 games in a row of being the biggest player. Here we get a reel of Faker winning in 2013, winning in 2015, winning in 2016, losing in the finals, and then a 5-year drought of not making it back there. Quarters, semis, but back to the finals now.
Chills.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to be a Faker fan. If you've been around since the start, like, everyone has followed his career. Everyone knows, like, League of Legends is very lucky to have an icon like him within the scene. Incredibly humble. What a great name, too, Faker. To see him back at the World Finals is going to be exciting, and we know that everyone's going to watch to see if he can lift the trophy one more time.
Yeah, we'll see if it happens there. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. That's going to be next week, and of course, it's another match tomorrow as well. We are joining Dracos for a dual interview with Faker and Carrier for a Verizon post-game interview.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Atlanta, one more time for T1. Faker, it'd be foolish to start with anyone other than you in this moment. I have to know, after 5 years of fighting, after 5 years of trying, how does it feel to finally be back in a world final?
가장 먼저 지금 이 순간 페이커 선수에게 먼저 질문을 드리고 싶습니다. 5년간 정말 열심히 싸워오고 정말 열심히 노력한 끝에 다시 한번 월드 결승에 오르게 되었는데요. 소감이 어떠신가요?
이번에 좀 느낌이 좋았는데 그래도 마지막 한 발자국만 남은 것 같아서 너무 기쁜 것 같고, 그리고 팬분들을 위해서 이번에는 꼭 기회를 잡고 싶습니다.
I'm extremely happy right now. I had some good feelings this year, and then I feel like I'm just one step away from it. So it feels really great. And also this time around, I will hold on to this opportunity for my fans.
Absolutely fantastic to hear. Now for you, Carrier, it's not the long history of World Finals or for trophies, but it is your first final. And so I want to ask you very much the same question. How does it feel to take down JDG and to move on to the last best of 5?
이제 캐리어 선수도 정말 처음으로 월드 결승 진출이라는 기록을 달성하셨는데요. JDG를 꺾고 월드 결승에 진출하신 소감이 어떠신가요?
일단 RNG와 중동을 잡고 올라왔는데 두 팀 다 되게 잘하는 팀이라 생각해서 더 기쁘고, 그리고 제가 국제 대회를 이제 4번째인데 8강, 4강 준우승을 했거든요. 그래서 이번에 꼭 우승을 할 수 있도록 최선을 다해서 우승을 하고 싶습니다.
So we beat RNG and JDG, two teams that we actually thought are really strong. So I'm really happy. And my entire career, looking back, it was quarterfinals, semifinals, runner-up. So I think this is the time.
And I absolutely love the confidence. Before we look ahead towards the match next week, before we look ahead towards tomorrow even, I want to talk to you a little bit about your performance, Carrier, you and Guma specifically. You killed people 2v2, you died 2v2. How did you feel about your individual performance today?
오늘 또 바텀에서 구마요시 선수와 함께 정말 눈부신 활약을 보여주셨습니다. 2대2를 싸울 때 뭐 이기기도 했고 어쨌든 죽기도 했는데 오늘 본인의 경기력에 대해서 어떻게 생각하시나요?
이제 오늘 경기력은 좀 좋았던 것 같은데 이제 라인전 하면서 뭔가 첫 판에 긴장을 좀 해가지고 좀 잘 안 된 것 같아서 그거 말고는 만족하는 편인 것 같습니다.
I'm pretty happy with my performance today. During the laning phase in game number 1, I was a little bit nervous, so I dropped the ball. But other than that, I'm pretty happy.
And I think rightfully so. What do you guys say? 2v2 looking pretty good. Faker, you on the opposite side. Game 1, the Galio, but from there, game 2, game 3, it was the Rise. This is a pick that everyone in the world knows you for, and I think we're all just wondering why here, why today was Rise the right choice for you?
그리고 페이커 선수 오늘 1경기에서는 갈리오로 잘 풀리지 않았지만 2, 3경기 라이즈를 가져오면서 경기를 풀어나가는데 정말 중요한 역할을 했습니다. 페이커 선수 하면 라이즈고 모두가 알 정도로 정말 유명한 픽인데 오늘 이 순간 이 자리에서 라이즈를 꺼내게 된 계기가 뭔가요?
일단 라이즈라는 친구가 좀 이번에는 안 써주냐고 자꾸 물어봐가지고 쓰게 됐습니다.
So my good old friend Rice, he was keep nagging, why aren't you logging me in? So I give it a go.
And what a friendship it's been. The next question for you, Carrie, I think is going to be a hard one because tomorrow you watch a lot of your former friends and teammates play each other to see who will be meeting you in the final. And so I have to know, who do you expect will be facing you in San Francisco?
이제 캐리어 선수에게 질문입니다. 내일 치러지는 준결승전에서 이제 캐리어 선수의 정말 많은 전 동료들이 서로 이제 싸움을 펼칠 예정인데요. 어떤 식으로 예상하고 계신가요?
일단 DRS도 그렇고 진지도 그렇고 일단 여기까지 올라온 팀은 다 잘한다고 생각하고 다 저력이 있다 생각해서 이제 누가 이길지 전혀 모르겠고 이제 저는 먼저 올라갔으니까 잘 아무나 올라와서 높은 곳에서 마주쳤으면 좋겠습니다.
Well, because both teams made it to the semifinals, it means that they have proven so much. They've been doing great, and now that I've already locked it in finals, I don't really care much. I don't know what's going to happen, so I just wish them best of luck, and I hope we can meet at a greater stage.
And I have to respect it. If we look ahead, your regular season was so close to lifting a trophy until you met Gen G in the finals. And if Gen G end up being the team that you meet, Faker, I have to know, what is going to be different this time around that will allow you to be a world champion once again?
사실 지난 서머 시즌도 T1이 서머 시즌 우승에 정말 가까웠지만 젠지에게 꺾이고 말았습니다. 만약에 결승전이 젠지와의 리매치가 형성된다면 어떤 점이 다르고 어떤 식으로 T1이 이번에 승리를 가져올 수 있을까요?
지난 젠지전은 너무 무력하게 져가지고 저희가 굉장히 칼을 많이 갈고 왔고 이번 월드에서는 확실히 다르다는 것을 보여드릴 수 있을 것 같습니다.
So in the previous match against Gen G at finals, we were not able to do anything. We just lost. But this time around, we were all so grinding hard, and we are different this time around. So I think this is our chance to prove that we are going to be different.
The fans are ready for it. Frankly, I'm ready for it as well. One final question before I let you both go. I'll give each of you the opportunity to answer if you want it. There are 3 LCK teams left. There are no LPL teams left. Who is the best region in the world?
지금 상황에서 LCK 팀만 3팀이 남았고요. LPL 팀은 하나도 남지 않았습니다. 세계 최고 지역이 어디라고 생각하시나요?
저는 네, LCK라고 생각하고 그 중에서도 T1이 최고라고 생각합니다.
So Korea just said. I think obviously LCK, and among the 3 teams, it's gotta be T1 being the best.
And frankly, that's the kind of confidence we look forward to ahead of the finals. Thank you both again so much for taking the time. Thank you to you, Jason, for translating in this wonderful, wonderful match. Let's hear it one more time for T1. And in the meantime, we can send it back over for cooldown at the desk.
Thank you so much, Dracos, and welcome back to Worlds Cooldown here at the State Farm Arena. T1 have done it again, 3-1 fashion, and they have booked their ticket to the finals.
Oof, what a crazy series.
They turned on the afterburners in that game 4. I mean, the series was already delivering, and then T1 found another level.
It was everything, really, wasn't it? Bot lane was winning 2v2, Faker was doing highlight plays, Keria and Gumayusi were just unleashed in fights. This game, everything just blew wide open, and you could see JDG on blue side just threw everything out the window. You know, they banned away majority of the champs, they took away the Riots, they took away the Lucian Nami angle, and they thought they could swap the entire game up and play these new styles. And I think 369 played pretty well, getting the lane gank bot despite his bot losing, trying to help his team as much as possible, but T1 were just relentless and they stood strong in the face of a draft that was a lot different.
Jhin and Karma is something we haven't seen at all really at Worlds, kind of felt like conceding the fact that like we can't match them, and still got that first blood off that Keria flash. So T1 just absolutely incredible, played angry and slammed the door shut on this series when it felt like the other games were kind of close, a lot of close team fights.
Yeah, also just goes to show, right, that while for those first 3 games, all of the draft was warped around the top lane. When it came down to it, brass tack series point, it's the bot lane where the teams make the switch, but T1 still finds the answer.
Well, we talked about, so I'm sorry, Keria's Ronaldo is just phenomenal this game.
Oh, yeah.
But we've talked about how the bot lane was like kind of quietly, because there was so much top lane focus, doing really, really well consistently in these games. Not only in lane, but just finding these picks, finding these angles elsewhere in skirmishes. And then in this game, after that first Keria handshake, they just ran over the entire thing.
Yeah, I just respect JDG a little bit for going down the way that they fought all year long. Just head first, like, yeah, we're going to keep fighting. We win through fighting, we lose through fighting. And, you know, this game, they could have bled out, but they just kept going for it. And, I mean, T1 was happy to keep beating them up.
Yeah, and one thing you saw constantly here was Faker's Azir, right? Previously, Faker kind of forced JDG to respond to his like phenomenal global pressure from the Rise, from the Galio. And there are just so many cool stories around Faker that we haven't even mentioned. Like, yes, Faker and the Zoomers, but it's him raising another jungler, right? Like in the post-Bengi era, he kind of helped along all these other junglers. Owner is the latest one. Speaking of Bengi, he just stepped into the T1 coaching position.
I was gonna say.
There's just so much to talk about. And the thing that honestly really has impressed me the most isn't individuals, because we knew all of these players were absolutely cracked. It was their map play today. That was the most impressive thing to me.
I love that you brought up Bengi. The first thing I thought of is like
Bengi.
T1 have struggled throughout the year with drafts. I think they've been dropping the ball a little bit here and there, but I just think of that scene in Dragon Ball when Gohan's fighting Cell and then Goku's behind him. It's like dead, you know, in the spirit.
Bring it all full circle. I love it.
Yeah, with the anime
full circle.
because thanks, dude. Faker is going to win, but he might win with Bengi. That's the thing, right? He's going to a finals with Bengi, and that's what brought him back.
They've been by each other's side.
They have.
From the beginning.
It's crazy.
From the first time they won a world championship right here in North America, and they're going back. But while every single player on T1 stepped up in some way across the entire series, in this game 4, it was Keria for us who deserves the 1+ OP player of the game, setting everything up, Mark, for Guma to start running through it.
Yeah, obviously everyone played well in the final game, but Keria himself being the key playmaker with the flash Q, with the ultimates. And for him, I'm so happy for his return to form. He was battling long COVID during the summer split. Obviously, Guma had a bit of a step down too, and people were kind of low on them through a lot of the year, second half of the year, excuse me. And so to see them step back up, absolutely dominate, and kind of be the key reason that T1 was able to win this series so decisively is just so happy for them.
Yeah, the entire series long. This game specifically, the Renato ult, the flash forwards, getting Guma ahead was just great to see. But even on the Lucian Nami games, you know, the bubbles he was doing in those fights were actually game-changing bubbles on 369, picks on 369 to stop his team from falling. There's a lot of trust in this bot lane. You can see they've grown so much throughout the year. And of course, they were a staple bot lane last year, but changing time with Teddy now and then, Gumayusi now finally gets a full season alongside Keria.
And with their kind of return to form here, I feel like this is the T1 that was promised at MSI, right? Like after their remarkably dominant LCK split, coming as MSI favorites, losing to RNG in the finals, I think with their increased map pressure and this bot lane back online, they're going to be unstoppable.
You see that damage per minute? That's over 4 games.
Let's go.
I was looking at the fact that he's the devil. He's 666 gold to me.
That's true. He also has that.
He's also the devil.
That going for him. 915 damage per minute on average.
That's a big number.
That's nuts.
Especially over 4 games, right? You can have those 1 games, you know, where you're playing like a poke champ and you
Well,
break.
that's what I mean. Sure,
you break the 1,000 barrier, but 4 games of it, it's just astounding.
And Lucian is not necessarily a poke champ. Like you got to dash in if you're going to deal that
But his damage was high in those games.
Yeah, man.
That's probably where his highest numbers were from, in all honesty, because he just kept pressing forward. And so an impressive showing out of the bot lane for T1, particularly when you color it with the expectation coming into the tournament. That was the target of most criticism for T1. Will they be able to pull it together? Will they be the weak link for T1? And today, that was absolutely not the case.
It definitely wasn't, and we highlighted at the start of the day what the weak point could be for T1, and it was jungle, it was owner. And as much as he struggled in that game 1 up against Kanavi, I have to say that if you look back on the Damwon semifinals, owner was getting a little bit gapped there by Canyon 2 against Damwon in those semis of Worlds 2021. But this time around, a lot more consistent. Managed to get the Viego a couple times, gave it over to Kanavi that game 1 and struggled, but jungle matchups with a couple bans made it so that was pretty even to the point where Faker could roam towards bot. Zeus was quiet in that GP game, but owner was able to stabilize lanes that were losing or were falling behind enough to become a weak point to salvage it.
And that's why I really do have to credit their coordination, right? Like we talked about Faker kind of feinting, following owner. We talked about owner being able to affect his lanes. And honestly, like overwhelmingly, that is the thing that's most impressive to me is how well this entire team is working together.
And so, Mark, here we are again. It's 2022, and Faker is going to another World Final. We took a look at this graphic earlier in the day, but it bears repeating because while, yes, he picked up 3 World Championships across 2013 to 2016, he hasn't had quite the same success, while still arguably incredible success. But we know that at the very least that final line is a trip to the finals and possibly picking it up again here in North America.
Just the gap between finals appearances is absolutely insane. You know, like to go for basically half of the League of Legends competitive ecosystem, half that time you were not able to make it back to finals, and then do it again in a game that changes so much year after year. The skill, dedication, and passion you have to be able to reach that level again is astronomical. I can't believe it, actually.
It's very rare. I mean, the only other player that even comes close to this is Deft in a way. Not in terms of results, but in terms of like how long they've been competing to be at this level still, right? And Faker is just a cut above everyone in results. Worst finish semifinals in God knows how many worlds. Was that 7 world championships he's been at?
Yeah.
A player would dream of one of those.
Right.
Let alone the win, but the semis itself. That's top 4 in the world. 7 times? Are you kidding?
I don't.
What?
No, I'm not. I don't know. We're not kidding, Gabriel.
It's so funny because there's a period of time where like the conversation of best in the world ever was, you know, obviously his, and then there's that brief gap where people are like, I wonder if someone else will ever be able to overtake him, how long it would take. And now that he's back on top again, you're like, I probably never.
Get out of here. Probably
never.
Get out of here with that argument.
When Showmaker came in and won Worlds in 2020, everyone was like, this is going to be the year of, or like the dynasty of Showmaker in a way, where Showmaker will start to dominate, maybe another finals, maybe he can win it back to back. And Faker's done it 3 times now, going for his 4th, and, you know, Showmaker got knocked out in quarterfinals, right? Faker's never done that, you know? He's never lost in quarters, right? So, achievement-wise, will it ever be topped? I don't think so.
I would be hard-pressed to come up with a scenario in which that does get unseated. Again, all of us are going to have to be here for pretty much another decade in order to see.
Can you imagine us in 10 years what this AD would look like?
A lot more wrinkles, I think.
I cannot in the slightest imagine us still here.
2032.
I will have a heart attack watching some of those.
I will say, I have
years.
seen all his finals appearances. I've been watching since season 1, so you know it's
happy
like,
to say that I was in the audience. I was in the audience in 2013 in Staples Center when he won his
2032. We'll watch this segment back.
Yeah, I've been lucky to be on the net.
We'll have like a sleepover movie night and rewatch this.
Nice. Let's go.
We'll see if he can get it. Let's pull up the bracket to see how things stand. Only 2 more best of 5s to go, one of which takes place tomorrow there on the bottom side of the bracket, as you can see, with T1 advancing 3-1 over JDG. It's down to Genji and DRX to see which of these 2 LCK squads will move on to challenge Faker and the rest of T1.
And it's going to be beautiful. It's either T1 versus Gen G rematch of the summer finals. We've now got the autumn finals, or it's Deft versus Faker. And I think both of those storylines, if you think about them, are just incredible. So whoever wins that series, it's going to be so exciting.
Also, coming out of the Gen G Tom1 series, I was like, oh, whoever makes it out of this, like, they're gonna automatically be the world champions. I may have to rethink that now after today,
I'm
after
definitely
how well T1
just
played.
Church of Chovy disciple. Like, I want it for him so bad. Yeah, please.
All right.
Peanut,
We'll come
too.
back. We'll come back,
looking
give
for
some
that.
final thoughts in just a moment, but we would be remiss if we didn't jump to JDG's side to get a quick word. So before we wrap up our day, we're going to get a final word with JDG's 369 in our Verizon post-game interview.
Thank you very much, Dash. I am now joined by 369 after what was a very difficult loss for the side of JDG. My first question for you is just what happened in that series that ultimately allowed T1 to get such an advantage over you?
首先今天的比赛是非常遗憾的输掉了。想问一下，对于今天这场比赛的一个看法是什么样子的？因为说好像T1 今天的一个表现整体来讲是非常的无懈可击的。
我觉得就是T1的话还是蛮厉害的吧。然后我们今天可能状态不是很好吧，就是这样。我觉得我们跟他们是有的打的。
I think T1 today performed really well. They are a very strong team, but we didn't perform in a very good form today. So I think if we can play even better in a good form, we can be compatible with them.
Certainly makes a lot of sense, but when we look at your own individual performance, 369, you still had so many incredible moments. So I'm curious, when you look at just yourself, how do you feel about the performance that you showed today?
想问一下，对于今天比赛当中自己的一个表现是怎么样的一个看法？因为说今天其实有非常非常多的高光的嘛，那可能说对于自己来讲，怎么评价今天自己的发挥呢？
感觉还是有很多不足吧，就是感觉对线期做的挺好的，但是打团的时候可能作用没有那么大吧，就这样。
I feel like I still have a lot of shortcomings and weakness in today's game, even though I did quite kind of well during the laning phase, but I didn't just be a very useful character in the team fights.
Good to always hear that honest self-reflection, even if you did have so many standout moments. When we look ahead now with the LPL eliminated, how do you look at the LPL-LCK rivalry moving forward? Is this something that is important to you when we look ahead to the future?
想问一下，可能说在将来的话，对于 LPL 跟 LCK 的一个对决是怎么看待的？因为其实现在来讲 ，LPL 的赛区是已经淘汰了，那无法在这个世界赛继续的往前。想问一下，你在对于未来可能说 LPL 跟 LCK 的一个对决是怎么看的呢？
我觉得 LPL 还是很强的吧，就是 LPL 也有很多年轻的选手也很厉害，我觉得就明年再来呗。
I think LPL is still a very strong region, and we have very young but talented top players. So we'll definitely try next year.
Cannot wait to see it. A final question before we let you go here. Your team achieved so much at this tournament, and I just want to know if there's anything that you want the fans to remember about yourself, about JDG, when we look ahead towards next year and the tournaments to come.
今年其实 JDG 也在世界赛留下了很多的一个高光场面，想问一下说，你想让粉丝记住关于你或者关于 JDG 的一些什么样的部分呢？
我觉得今年 JDG 的话，我觉得我们就想让大家记住我们的团结吧，就这样。
I want everybody to remember the cooperation as of JDG.
It's a beautiful answer. Thank you so much for your time, 369. Again, condolences for the loss, and looking forward to what we see from you in the future. For now, we're going to send it back over to Dash at the desk.
Thank you very much, Dracos. It's never easy to say goodbye to a team, especially this late in the tournament, right? Because every step we get closer to the World Finals means it hurts that much more when you just barely miss the mark.
And I really love this JDG team. I feel like I've been pretty open about how much I love them. These players are such a cool group of misfits with a very interesting underdog story, despite the fact that obviously they were #1 seeds. So you're like, why is that? And each of them kind of had their own individual reasons to have a chip on their shoulder. Just the improvement from 369 himself as an individual player over the course of this year is truly impressive. So I hope at the very least, when people did watch them play today, even though it's a very triumphant day for T1, that maybe they gained a few more fans in there. You know, they're not the most popular team. I do really love this team, and I'm sad to see them go.
And that's exactly it. Coming into this tournament, I think a lot of Western fans especially didn't recognize a lot of these names internationally because they just haven't been there very often, or they haven't achieved enough for Western fans to recognize them in that sense. So I hope moving forwards into next year that people will look back on this Worlds and say, wow, okay, you know, in quarters, in groups, in semis, these are names I know from last year which are performing really well. The likes of Kanavi and 369, Yagaos Telio was fantastic. Hope and Missing had a good group stage as well. And if you look at their LPL playoffs run, it was a very tough run. The fact they won that LPL is impressive in and of itself. So I think this is definitely a team to remember and look back on.
Question though, we came into the start of the day, best top player in the world title was on the line. Who walked away with it?
Honestly, it's a tough call, right? Because even in the loss, I think most people look at each of those games individually and go, wow, 369 was popping.
You know what I would say? I guess it's time to stay tuned till next year to see it again.
Oh, you're such a coward.
You got to stay tuned till next year.
I thought you were going to say it's a tie. Europeans love ties.
They do.
The old meme.
Classic.
Look, I'm not in a position to be declarative.
I would say
on
369
that,
had a better individual performance.
Okay.
I think he did outclass Zeus in a couple of the matchups, but I will say a lot of JDG's focus was topside, so it's hard to criticize Zeus for falling behind in a lot of these dives when he's put in spots to be at a disadvantage from the get-go. So slight edge in that sense, but still extremely even for me.
Yeah, I feel like he also got more draft resources in a sense, or they were early game picks. Like you take the GP into Renekton, you're kind of risking it at that point because you're going to scale, and you know Zeus did that.
Yeah, for me, what I care about is that we're still having the debate, and I know that could sound like a
That's round two win. Round two win.
It just means the series was that good. It means the players are that good, and so unfortunately for us, though, we say goodbye to the LPL with only LCK teams remaining in the tournament. One more semifinal to play before we ship off to San Francisco. As we do get that much closer to crowning our next world champions, a reminder that if you can't make it to San Francisco for finals, you can watch on the big screen with friends and family at one of 600 theaters and counting near you. Use the QR code below to purchase your tickets. But for now, that's going to do it from us here. So on behalf of myself, the Cashers, the entire live broadcast crew, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow for more Worlds. Until then, stay healthy, stay safe, and be good to each other. Good night.
Hello, Georgia! Welcome, fans from around the globe. Atlanta, please join me in welcoming Korea's T1 and their opponents, champions of China, JDG and Talent Club!
There's going to be the first one missing. Heal for move speed. Flash it himself. Double, not an ulti, but enough damage is going to be there. The polymorph. First blood for Gumayushi. He wants the second. It's 369 again, marking the target. Owner comes in. He'll find a stun, though. And keep in mind, they've got Elder. Hope can't find the first kill, but 369 does. Zeus will drop as well. It's 2-0. And T1 runs for the hills. Sidestep Zeus' first Q. Gonna find the knockup now to Owner as well. He'll stay alive. They go back in for the combo. Huge damage coming across. And he's gonna find the kill to 369. Yagao doesn't find the root for Zazonius. In comes Zeus. Knocks down Missing. And there's the rest from Owner. Gets the second. Hope gonna lose the Guardian Angel, but how about the rest? As everyone's starting to fall, Kanavi is left alone. But you can't do it by yourself. You need a team. And T1 will tie up the scoreline. But he's waiting out. Mills with nothing. The flash in. Zeus the flash follow. It's a 1-for-1. But can Renekton win against Nocturne? The big stun. And 369. Forcing Israeli is out. 369 cannot find his target. Locked in place. Needs to ult to stay alive, but he's feared. And he's fallen. Nocturne goes for number 2. Hope drops. A flash away from Missing. But Faker won't. And he's unstoppable.
루시안 제압을 잘 먹었다. 위에서 탑 1대1이야? 이긴 것 같아. 앞에는 안 보이긴 한다. 나이스! 급빠지긴 했다.
Faker with 5 health left. Wins the one-on-one. The GOAT! Now he's got more enemies coming after him, though. He's going for the sneaky recall. Out of vision. They know he's on the left-hand side. Missing. Will not spot him go into the brush. They see. You can see it. You can see it. It was in vision. They don't walk over to the roam ward. Faker with the Okie-doke. Complete jukes right here. Ults in from It4. Forcing out the flash. But Faker does not care. Another 369 finds death number 4. But the re-engage from Belvet is almost